Hey, welcome back to Métropole Grid. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's a Tuesday. What day of the week it is? I don't know the number associated, but that's it. Stream notification made my decision on whether or not to touch some grass. So much easier for me. You could watch on mobile outside, but I hear you. I've been there. Hopefully you well sub. We gotta play. We gotta play some Snake Draft, right? Carrie, it's Tuesday stream now, routine. How's it going? Yes. We are gonna be streaming regularly on Tuesday. Afternoon. I would rather have a more distinct time that we're going to start at. I wanted to start at about 12:15, 12:30. Did Nanako throw up on the carpet? Did that slow it down? Yeah. You might not guess what I'm doing sometimes during the countdown when there's music. It's cleaning puke off of a carpet. Spark, how's it going? I think so. I'm here for it. How you doing? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we should be doing regular Tuesday. Jat, it's the Tuesday Grid. Congrats. Jat, mind you, New Zealand national champion. New Zealand Nationals. We're going to be talking about that actually at a pretty good length today because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to New Zealand Nationals. And it's a bug wild out there, let me tell you. So I'm excited to dive into that. Hey, Leon, Tuesday stream. My Tuesday just got so much better. Let's go. Yo, really nice to hear that. I'm like really stoked to stream on Tuesdays as well. Like the afternoon slot, fantastic for a lot more folks than just, the East Coast crowd mostly. So that's always really nice. And then, having to go not a week to talk about Netrunner, it's been like really nice. Sorry to hear about your cat doing well. Oh, no, it's no big deal. That just happens. You eat too much hair. You eat your food too quickly. You get stressed out because we want to make you pee in the crystals so we can take your cat pee to the crystal doctor. There's a lot of reasons why. Hey, Spark. I was just very surprised when you greeted me first until I saw there was another Spark. It's possible, like, I find this to be really creepy, but I know people do it. If I go at least on the Twitch side, I don't think I can do it for YouTube. And then I hit this button, you can't see off screen. I can see, like, who's in chat. Which, like, to me, I never hit that button because, like, I respect the sanctity of lurking. I think you're allowed to lurk. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know who's there. I don't know who's watching. You need your Smurfs out here. Yo, Syndrin, how are you? We're doing well. How are you doing? Get the same reaction. Okay, deck list of the week today. We got a lot of stuff. There's a deck that I've built that I'm really excited to try out. I think it's actually maybe okay. Got back from LA yesterday. Oh, did you play it? Was last weekend also the Nationals in LA? Canadians came 1st, 5th, and 8th? Wait, I haven't seen these results. Because it was another US Nationals. It was the LA US Nationals just recently. I didn't realize it was that soon. I thought it was sometime now. But Canada won? Hold on. Let's see what the numbers look like. It was super fun. Los Angeles, Western USA Nationals, 23 players. Okay. Organized by Rick Rage. Nice. Play. Ghost Meat. Nice. This is Dave, right? NZ Nats with Smurf City. It was Smurf City. And like, I don't know. It's hard to be... I think we're going to mention the Smurf City thing. It's hard to be like really critical about, yeah, this is Dave. It's really hard to be critical about Smurfing because I kind of get it. I just wish it wasn't like that. But yeah, there was so many Smurfs out at New Zealand Nationals. It was like a third of the field were people Smurfing, which like, I don't know. I feel like that, cuts some people the wrong way. Someone downplaying their Swiss run? Why? Hold on. So this is, it was won by ESSA and R+. Really cool to see what that ESSA deck looks like. This is the least Toshiko in a top cut. Was this, mind you, 2309 or was this 2308? It looks like it says here 2308, but it might not be. Why Smurf? I think there's a lot of reasons why people would consider smurfing. There's less pressure on you, so like you can kind of do whatever you want and mess around, which is really great. People don't see you coming. People don't see the decks that you're normally playing. People aren't prepared for you at Worlds, expecting you. Like, there's a bunch of reasons. I think a big one, though, is just, like, not having the stress to perform. Because at the end of the day, if, like, you know, so-and-so throwaway account 327, like, absolutely misplays on stream, like, there's a lot of stress associated with it. It's just, you know, yeah. DreamNet was the go. Okay, so this is straight up 20. So, no Hoshiko until 7th place. Cinderin, mind you, top 8. Well done. And that's pretty neat. I want to see this Ari deck looks like. Ari's doing quite well. Ari came, mind you, I believe 2nd at NZ Nats. I think Bailu just posted a list. Frog kickflip, perfect sticker. Bravado. The 2-pin ult threading, I think we're seeing that more in Arsana. I think it's like the best influence you can spend in the deck. It's so good. After like Clot Hush. Buzzsaw Cleaver, Turbine as opposed to Takobi. I think that's really interesting. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of 2 Cubone over 3 Cubone versus the SMC slots. I think that's really hard. DreamNet, can't do that anymore. It's worth noting that this meta was like the top 2 decks were both Keeling decks. So yeah, it's the old meta, as exciting as that might be for some folks. But this is nice. The one of Prognostic to me is, what the hell? Huh? What? Yo, speaking of NZ Nats, there's Jai in the chat. Jai streamed all of New Zealand Nationals. It was like basically, I would say one of Jai's first streams, trying to figure it out on the fly, and it went great. Jai streamed for like 8 or 9 hours, I think it was. It started at like Friday night, so I could watch almost all of it. I watched till the finals. I didn't see the beginning of it. Unfortunately, I don't think the stream is saved, Jai, right? I actually streamed using my Smurf last night, but my Smurf of Bahram 2, so I don't know if that counts. Hey, Ba. That doesn't count. I'm going to make Bahram 2 though, and I'm going to be a total shithead in public, and it's going to be at your expense. I was so close to the cut, but I got paired down twice and couldn't ID. Was it double-sided or single-sided? That's Bahram 2, pretty mysterious. I've seen them play against Bahram, who could be the same in the testing group. That's the thing that you have to do, is like you have to make your very obvious Smurf, and then you have to go on JNet and open like 2 browsers and then play against yourself. So like people don't think it's you. They don't think it's you at all. There's no way it could possibly be you. This is wild. I need to read up the write-up to why this is here, because I don't think this should be here. I think Lilypad is just really quite good. I think you're seeing Lilypad outside of Arisana, which I'm not sure if that's correct. I think you have to build a really specific build for that to be good, but 2MU for 4 credits is like kind of reasonable. First ever live stream, everyone was helpful. Too bad about the VOD. Yeah, I asked about the VOD midstream, but like you can't course correct. I think if you don't set up the VOD save, you don't set up the VOD save. But it was great. It was really good, Jai. I'm excited for the future if you want to keep streaming, because you did a great job. Well done. It's a lot of work. I think now that you've done it, you probably understand how much work it might be. it's a bit of work, and you did a great job. So really well done. Yo, this is sick. Shout out. Shout outs to the other national champion, Dave Laird, Ghost Meat. Really cool. Excited to see what those deck lists are. Otherwise, interesting. Again, there's still some Ag Infusion floating around here because Keeling was legal. Hosh. This is the worst performing for Hosh, and DreamNet is still legal. But yeah, pretty wild. Pretty wild. Double-sided Swiss. Okay. So, I think we're going to get into some deck building. Our last great Canadian hope is called by Eric. That was a pretty abrasive episode. Even for, like, their standards, that was pretty abrasive. Funny, but, like, oh, boy. Oh, boy. Last great Canadian hope. I feel like there's so many Canadian players that can do something good. I was excited to hear, though, how Cascadia went from the organizer's perspective, because it's a lot of work. And they did a great job, it seems. We're all washed? Yeah, Kyle, tell him. We're all washed. Kyle, you're not going to Worlds, right? Good old washed Canada. All right. So one of the decks that was like really cool to see pop off at New Zealand Nationals had an interaction that's kind of a known interaction. Maybe you heard about this recently enough on the episode of Neon Static. This came up in the rules section, is that there's this really goofy interaction. I think Crore posted the list, right? Yeah, 4th at no smoking. No Worlds for me this year. Ah, bummer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I knew that. The King would have something to say about that. I think the King was one of the non-washed players according to Whiteblade. So this actually got a good flatline. I think it was in the top cut. I think this is the first loss that Kira took. But the interaction here is that there's this card called Reconstruction Contract. A Reconstruction Contract is not an advanceable card, but it is a card that if you can get advancements on it, is actually busted powerfully. It has some really, really unintuitive, absurd interactions. So it says whenever the runner suffers any amount of meat damage, you may place an advancement token on Reconstruction Contract. Now that text to date has like been not reasonable, not mandatory, not relevant, excuse me, for like 90% of the lifetime of this card. The important thing is that you can trash this to move any number of advancement tokens from Rikoko, which is what people call this because that's a lot of syllables, to a card that can be advanced. Smoking kills Rendos. Yo, Paul, how's it going? Also, Phil, good stream. Jai? Yes, good stream, Jai. Phil, I think you left a comment on the last video talking about air bladesing through a surveyor. Are you thinking of Hush, right? Because airblade's only on encounter. I'll respond to your YouTube comment after this, but that's the interaction there that you can't actually do. So the thing with op, and we're playing op here, is that once a turn when you trash a card, you can go search your deck for a card and install that. Now this actually goes before the ability fires on Reconstruction Contract. So once you do this trash can to trash this thing, then you can go get a zero coster, which means that zero coster is technically on the table and the Reconstruction Contract can move its advancement count tokens from the Rikoko to the card that you've pulled from your deck. Now, very important, no change in game state has been a bit of a burden recently in Netrunner, competitive Netrunner for the last little while, and I think it's something that like the rules team is looking at for sure. But very importantly is you cannot trash this card. Firstly, there's no advance encounters on it, because then you're not changing board state, you're just trashing a card, and paying costs is not evaluated when it comes to like, did you change the game state? But also, you need to have another card on the table that you can move the advancements to. So imagine you have a Rikoko on the table with 3 advancements on it, and the runner runs it. The only way that you can crack this is if you can prove to the judge that, say, one of your ice is something like an ice wall or an Aket. And you can't reveal the card to your runner to be like, trust me, I can do this. But you actually have to call the judge over and you actually have to say like, hey, I need to prove to you that I can fire the Rikoko because it has a legal target when I'm cracking it, because I'm not actually going to use that legal target as the actual target. It's really ugly. There's no way around it. It is incredibly ugly, and it's one of the ugliest no change in game state sort of proof of things. There's a simulchip example too that I don't know if classically still exists, but important to understand that interaction. Because what you can do at instant speed is when the runner goes to run any card in a remote server, let alone the Reconstruction Contract, and say the Reconstruction Contract has 2 advancement counters on it, when the runner says, would you like to access, and they've agreed to the access at like 4.3E, whatever the step is actually called, you now have a paid ability window, which means you can trash the Reconstruction Contract, fire Ob, go get a zero coster, install that over whatever card the runner was going to access and they've agreed to access so they can no longer jack out, and then move the Rikoko counters over to it. So the idea is that if you have, heaven forbid, a Reconstruction Contract with like 3 or 4 counters on it, you can be like, boop, it's now on an Urtica, you've agreed to access the Urtica that is 6 net damage, you flatline. And that is the combo. And this combo actually goes far back. I think the first instance of this, Cody was goofing around with this deck list. It's called like Heartbreaker because it's an emoji, so it's hard to find. So we'll search it by doing Clearinghouse. And I like this interaction even more. So there's a fork here. We do Clearinghouse, Rikoko. And mind you, Rikoko on its own is a very, very good card. It won Worlds before. It just, one of the pieces that I worked with has rotated. It's worth knowing. So you have to send the runner out of the room before you show the judge? Sort of. You have to tell the runner to like earmuffs a bit and kind of look away. But yeah, you have to like prove it to the judge without showing the runner. It's like really ugly. At Sparksign, the X becomes 0? Yeah, when it's hushed, yes. Yo, Rosenheim, how's it going? Ryan, are you still looking for thoughts from startup players about Standard? By an odd turn of events, I played some startup decks and Nats. Yeah, Ryan, how'd it go? You played startup and Nats on accident? Hey, Zombie had a great time at Danish Nationals. Jinsei got the title and split hair in front of Felix. Oh, adds like very close? How'd it go? How's your experience? Godin, did you explain the change in board state thinking? It's not clear to me what that means. I was watching Intercontinental's vid yesterday and didn't understand why Malia couldn't be res. Paul, very important to understand is that ruling on Malia could not be res is actually an incorrect ruling, and the OP team ruled, they ran that back. That's actually not correct. I'm not going to be able to do a big non-change in game state explanation right now because it's pretty technical. But in short, if you have a card and the card says, okay, if you play an operation You would think that playing the operation, removing it from your hand, paying the cost and credits, and putting it in your archives, even if the operation did nothing, changes game state. And it's important to know that all the actions of playing the cost of a card, if the effect of the card do not change game state, you cannot play the card. I think an understanding of how this works is like classically back maybe 6 years ago, so at the risk of confusing things, you were not allowed to purge virus counters if no virus counters were removed, because it was ruled that you did an action that didn't change game state, so that wasn't allowed. So largely that's the same idea here, is that you can't trash a reconstruction contract if it doesn't have counters on it, because the effect doesn't change the game state. You're right that the cost of trashing this does change the game state, but the cost of playing any single card changes the game state. And the cost of, or the effect of the card being trashed or credits being paid to res it, that is not considered in changing game state. So when it came to Malia is a card that says when you res it, you have to pick a non-virtual resource and you blank it. It was ruled during Intercontinentals that if there was no non-virtual resources, you were not allowed to res Malia. The Corp had some interesting reasons to res Malia because they needed a 1-coster res on the table, but it was ruled that you could not res Malia because Malia had no target, so resing Malia didn't change the game state. That is technically wrong. For what it's worth, the rules team backed that up, or not backed up that ruling, but they backed away from that ruling. And this is not to harp on the rules team. Yeah, judges do rules wrong. It's a hard thing to do. That's totally understandable. I think it's more important to educate those to make sure that you don't understand, or you do understand that that's not the actual ruling. So resing Malia is technically fine. I'm not actually sure why, but I think the idea is that resing assets or resing ice inherently don't change game state, right? Resing pad campaign doesn't change game state until the pad campaign fires. So are you allowed to res a pad campaign? Of course you are allowed to res a pad campaign. So to me, that's the same sort of idea, is that resing assets and resing upgrades, you can do whenever you want because they're not an effect that cares about game state. But playing an operation, trashing a card, apparently those matter. I think it's worth noting that Spin Doctor is technically on the line of not being able to change game state. You technically can remove this asset from the game to at least shuffle R&D, even if there's no cards in archives, because that does change game state. But if you had no cards in R&D and no cards in archives, you could not remove Spin Doctor from the game, because then Spin Doctor is not changing game state, barring the removal of Spin Doctor himself, which is the cost. You can't do that. Let me catch up on chat. Yo, Aiden, how's it going? I am doing well. Hopefully you're well too. I didn't think I was going to play at the Nats, and was convinced to join last minute, and startup decks were the decks I had. By coincidence, they didn't have Boat, Drago, etc., so they were legal. Cool. Did you feel like you were underperformant? Because it depends on what archetype you're playing, but I don't think startup is there are a lot of startup decks that have banned cards that I think are more powerful than standard decks, but I think there's a lot of startup cards that are pretty similar. Knowing what the cards do isn't too hard, but I didn't know any of the lines. I have no inbuilt sense to expect what's a Rashida or what ice is likely to be a drafter or a gatekeeper, etc., etc. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that does track. I think those are things that do come quickly for what it's worth. Hey, Rohit, how's it going? It's even worse than that. You can play a card with the potential to change the game state without consideration of whether the game state actually changes. For example, a Trace 0 where nobody pays. Yeah, that's fine. I think you can give the option to change game state. But if the card couldn't when you play it, you're not allowed to play it, from my understanding. That probably isn't a rules complete understanding of it. All right, so I want to go back to this list. Remember, we're talking about the Rococo thing. So why I love this deck is that you cannot advance Rococo. So the idea is, how do we get advancements on Rococo? Because the Rococo only does that sort of cool trap thing if we can get advancements on it. And luckily there's a couple cards in the format that get advancements that you can advance unadvanceable cards. So the idea is that seamless launch, as long as the reconstruction contract has been on the table, you can seamless it. And now if you seamless the reconstruction contract and the runner accesses any server, if you have an Urtica Cypher in your deck, that's 4 damage, as long as you have 5 and fired up that turn. And that's a hard thing to understand, let alone play around. So the idea is that we have 3 seamless. And as soon as turn 2 abstractly, if the reconstruction contract sticks, we can do seamless. And now suddenly that reconstruction contract becomes, if we have Urtica, it becomes a 6 damage Urtica. So good luck running anything. And literally anything that's not a central server, you can't run if you don't have 6 cards in hand, because you die. Interestingly, this deck was on Cerebral Overrider, which I think is a bit more expensive. It does core damage, and I think that's a totally fine trade. While it doesn't do as much damage up front, once you've done enough damage to the runner, they'd have less hand size, and then this trap in the next couple turns becomes a bit more powerful. But the big reason why this deck I think is much more interesting is it's also playing Clearinghouse. And so the exact same way that this works with Urtica or Cerebral, at the start of your turn, you can fire up to trash the reconstruction contract as long as you can prove you have an advanceable card that you can change in game state. And then you can put all the advancements on top of a Clearinghouse. And if the runner has less cards on hand, they die. And that's the fork here. This deck also, mind you, has La Costa Grid, which allows you to advance the reconstruction contract manually, and you can find the one of consistently with Op, which is really nice. You play 1 3-coster, but that's the idea. This deck also is very interesting because it's like kind of safe to pinhole. You have to be a bit careful about pinhole, but if they ever pinhole, you just have to make sure that there's only one card they can access and it is your advanceable trap, which you have ability to do that. So that's what this deck can do. Why I was much more exhilarated to look at this deck list is because we have another way to do more meat damage. We have Angelique. And I didn't realize Angelique is like a seamless launch. As long as you hit threat 3, you can spend a click and a credit to do a meat damage and put a thing on your not your urban renewal, on your reconstruction contract. So you have a way to load it. You have another tool in the toolkit to load your reconstruction contract and hit that combo. Let alone it's a card that if it access on central servers, it does 2 damage. So the idea is if they run a remote server that has an Angelique, this does 2 meat damage, and then it makes it easier to kill them with something else. It's a really nice piece for that combo, and so we're gonna go and explore it. While this deck had it as an option, it did not have the other clearinghouse kill, so which if the runner sits back, you can kill them. So we have a mid-range version that I haven't tested yet, but I'm feeling that there's some opening draws that can just like really blow out some runners if you're pretty aggressive. Let me catch up on chat. Thanks for your explanation. There are still blurry parts like the Molly one, as you said. I'll keep it in mind and call judges in case of doubts. Paul, always call judges, even if you're like 80, 95% sure, just call a judge, always. First IRL tournament since 2019. Yo, Zombie, glad you went out. Since 2019, wow. Do you think they will ban or errata Rococo because of the judge issue? No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a reason to do it. I think if anything, they'll like not print a card exactly like this in the future. I think there's other cards. I think we mentioned other cards like this, like Simulchip technically is another card like this. Or is it? I think it technically is, where you had to prove that there was something in your archives, and maybe that's a clone chip thing. I'm not sure. But there are a couple cards that interaction happens, but I think they're not worth addressing because it's not that ugly. Those who know to call a judge. Those who don't know, don't play this card. So it's fine. Why is NCIGS even a rule? Jackson, it's a thing that's like actually pretty, it's pretty consistent across FFG games, and it largely came from that. So in like games like Marvel Champions and Arkham Horror, there's just this basic idea that you cannot do something that doesn't change the game state, and it allows you to stop like cycling cards, and it like clamps down certain interactions that you could perceive as being a bit gross. Why exactly? I don't have a good reason to be like, if there was the no change of game state rule, we'd be able to break the game like this. I don't know, but it's something that they often do just to make sure that you can't get away with weird edge cases, and it stops you from just like jamming your hand out. Say Bill, snap the boss makes dollar and I make the dime, so watch Netrunner go up anytime. Yeah, hopefully you're working hard, Said Bill. How's it going? Hey, Pink Warrior, how you doing as well? It's been a minute, hasn't it? How you doing? Presumably to make sure people don't stall time when activating abilities that do nothing. Hey, Augustus. Yeah, that might be a good reason to do it. Yeah, Augustus, great to see you at NZ Nets as well, right? You're at NZ Nets. Man, a weekend ago feels like so long ago. What's going on? Importantly, you either need to have an ice or an upgrade in the Rococo server, otherwise the server dies if they run the Rococo. Oh, that's a very true wrinkle about that. Yeah, you're right. You can't overinstall the card itself because it has to be there and not be there at the same time. So you kind of need an upgrade. I totally forgot about that. But you ice it though. You have to. Yeah. Hey, Jank, been taking a break from Netrunner for a bit and probably will until Worlds. But what's new? Are we still trying to get to 7? 7 points? I don't know what that means. Hopefully you're doing well. In this, we're trying to kill. In this, we're trying to get the clearinghouse to 6 into flatline, or if they run, we're trying to either do Overrider if it's not lethal to weaken them up, or Urtica to end them. We have some other tricks too, and like using influence here is really interesting. We have an enemy that we can pull on a later run in a run to get an enemy out to lower their hand size, so it's more easy to kill them with other stuff. We have 3 Angelique, which works really well to advance our thing. And then we also have CityWorks Project, which we can just put on the table. And then it's this really ugly fork. If you run a CityWorks project with Angelique, you'll probably take 4 or 5 damage. That will charge the Rococo, which will be on the table. And then we can do the Rococo to do damage. And then if that hasn't even flatlined the runner yet, we can always do Audacity into Azief to do even more damage. So we can actually like do about, if the runner runs, like 7 to 8 damage across their turn and our turn on a good enough board state. So I'm pretty excited about that. We've also played other like damage op decks like this in the past, and I think other cards that are kind of interesting but like heavy on influence, like Vera is an interesting one because you can go trash what is it, a 4-coster when you score an IZF to get Vera on the table, and she will actually fire, so you can actually do 3 damage by scoring out an IZF, and that actually can be interesting as much as she's 4 influence. I think also at some point we had what's it called, Reaper function in the deck, so that we could always trash a border control on a late run to get a Reaper function, but that's the same sort of slot as Anemone, so I felt like Anemone is just kind of a bit better. Does Jaina check you have advanced ice? No, Jaina does not do the check. You have to call a judge over. Yo, Dajin, how's it going? Earning flashbacks. Chess Girl, is this Kira? How's it going? Congrats on your run in NC Nights. Yeah, Urtica flashbacks is correct. Simul chip is fine because all the relevant cards are invisible zones. Yeah, I think so, but then I can't remember why clone chip wasn't a problem, or was a problem. Very fun time I was in Dita and ZNats. I think there's a pretty good Logic Bomb article on the change in game state stuff. I need to check that out. Thanks for sharing my game, even with the most painful moment, the forma carries. Keep the Rococo server online. Oh yeah, excellent. That is you. It was really fun to watch. When Crore called over the judge call, and very importantly, Crore is a judge, so Crore understands the no change of game state and understands what Crore has to do to call the judges over to apply the game state. That's pretty good. It's been a long time. Haven't played for a while. Have you been? I've been good, Pink. We've been making more Netrunner content. We've been back to like doing videos. We're gonna have another video tomorrow morning. We've been doing 2 live videos a week. I feel like I kind of want to do 3 because it's gonna take us a while to get them all out. I'll be honest. It'll be past Worlds. Then he lost to Ag Keeling too. All my preaching was to get the deck banned. I've been calling for that since last minute. I, for one, can't believe Augustus didn't play Keeling one last time after preaching it for like a month. Yeah, and I think a lot of like, I think it was Kira, but Augustus, your changes, like your way of looking at Ag made it into the decks that were up there. Hey, Sean, very much enjoying the tourney videos. You enjoying the tourney videos or are you enjoying CPE? Does Jaina? No, Jaina does no checks. Jaina just lets you do you. It does not care. Jaina does not enforce no change in game state. The one thing I'm going to change about this deck, because there's some interesting inclusions for the deck. Firstly, we have Formicary, which is just a fun way to mess up damage math. It's okay. It's also a 2-coster that we res on most board states so that we can extract to go get a Rococo. The one thing that I'm not sure about this deck is that we're playing 2 Cybersand Harvesters, because Cybersand Harvester, abstractly, we can crack this on the end of the runner's turn to get a a reconstruction contract on their turn, which means as soon as it hits the table, we are allowed to start seamless launching it. Because otherwise, we have to let the Rococo hit and stay on the table for a whole turn before we're able to seamless launch it because of the clause not installed this turn. So I thought that was really cute. I think functionally this deck has next to no money. It's not even playing Rashida, that we're probably going to drop the Cybersand Harvesters and instead go ahead and play what's it called, Regolith, and then we'll just like get some money off the Regolith and just extract the Regolith, and hopefully that's fine. But it's worth knowing there are some, like, it's weird. The Genda Suite's pretty reasonable, I think, but these Harvesters are a hard slot because we just don't have enough money in the deck. Yeah, thanks Augustus Caesar for the great insights and Ag Keeling. The way Crow called the judge was so surreal. It was like he was cosplaying Angelique for a second. I have a target. Would you like me to confirm? I know, Jai, you were like doing the commentary, be like, what's he talking about? Is he cosplaying? It was very, very funny. I got a shipping notification for 7C City of 5 sales. Are you planning on picking up Andre or any else on the stream? Ryan, how's it going? That's the level 99 game, right? I know very little to nothing about it. Kira, did you ever see that Urtica interaction? Like, it was open deck lists. Did you worry about that? Because this is like a really, niche kind of old school interaction. It's something that hasn't been relevant in standard in a really long time. So like, yeah, I reckon it would catch a lot of people off guard. It's a hard thing to play around too. It's like you just cannot run anything unless you have 4 cards in hand. I was wondering how the hell he's gonna kill me. And then it comes out of nowhere and it's just like, I guess the game is over, which like, feels bad. But hey, we have what is that 4-3 agenda in Ashes that everyone hates? By everyone, I mean me. That's a value neutral statement. Up. Okay, so yeah, we'll drop the Cybersand. We'll just play 2 Regolith. That's fine. So I want to call the deck Contract Killer because we are making reconstruction contract with Angelique Garza Correa, who's, a hit woman. But I already have a stream called that. So what did we call this stream? What is this stream called, YouTube? Hired Gun? Okay. Thanks to NSG for banning Keeling. Yeah, I even think all of the Ag Fusions, all the Keeling players are pretty happy about it. It is from the Doomtown people. I said level 99. That's not right. Yeah, it's from Pinebox Entertainment. I did know that. No, I haven't checked it out. I'm not actually even sure if it's like an RPG or if it's a card game. Vulnerability audit. Thank you, Solom. Great one. I thought the most that could happen was 2 damage. This is actually the sort of deck that I would consider playing at Eternal. Because I think like the op into trap lines is something that nobody's playing around. But I have no idea. I need to play Eternal, it turns out, for like, I'm probably going to be an Eternal player. I need to find a team, mind you, for, what's it called? Crown of Servers. Let's go. Hired help is banned though? Droids, yeah, this is hired gun. We're going more direct than help. Well, people in your snake pod are playing games? Yep. Yep. Even me, but not, there's actually a couple players who haven't got to games yet in our snake pod, which like, no pressure. I was later than it should have been. But I think there's still like, yeah, snake drafters, and I've heard Philly is really slow, which is like so weird to me because it's so fun. Oh yeah, you're right, Cinderin. Jemison did play this combo because Jemison is the one ability that can advance most things very quickly. Yeah, that's totally true. It's expandable card game in the 7th universe. Yeah, I don't know anything about the 7th universe, but that's pretty cool. I know they have a new set coming out in Doomtown, and their sets have been really, really good. It's just hard to find them in Canada because they're like a small studio. So the shipping directly from their website is like busted expensive in Canada. So I have to wait for like Board Game Bliss to have them, which takes a while. I'm really stoked for the expansion for Arnak. There's like a cooperative campaign expansion, which is exactly what me and my partner are looking for right now. Everyone thank NSG for the killing ban because this has opened my eyes to an even faster ag prison deck. I think 3 Blind Sharks posted a list on, we didn't even talk about the deck list of the week. We'll get back to that on Thursday for sure because it's hilarious. But they posted a thanks Andre deck list, and it's just clearinghouse ag, which like, I think it's probably not as good, but I think it can do something, which is really funny. Eternal, may have to play that as many decks won't be legal otherwise. It's been so long. Yeah, Pink, look into Eternal and NSG because it's, you know, the whole card pool. There's a couple bans, but Eternal has since added this point system in which certain cards are worth points and every deck has a budget to spend on points. So you can't just do like there is a plateau for the power level of Eternal. It's still very, 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 very high though. Obviously compared to standard or startup. I played against a Borehole Ag last week. Santa was smurfing at NZ Nats, I'm pretty sure, is Borehole Ag. I'm not sure if he was playing Borehole Ag. Hey, David, my partner did some of the initial graphic design for the cards. Oh, for 7th C? That's sick. All right, Sable. Cool. We're a bit weak on Centrals. It's nice to have a Winchester. That's a card that does something. I think we can keep this hand pretty easily. Killing Bend that means that Super Deep Borehole is good, maybe? I wouldn't go that far. That's the thing, is like, the good thing about Keeling is that she pushed the runner out of the game. But the idea is that if you can protect a server for 3 or 4 turns, can you just win off of agendas? And largely, yeah, you can. The thing is, like, Keeling didn't leak bad publicity. So you can now just, like, score, you know, Niseis and off-rolls and stuff like that. Awesome. Okay, so we need to ice up our marks. We have only 15 ice in the deck. It's a bit lower than you'd want. I think we can put a Rico on the table and see if it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, it does. Andre says tautology is technically not wrong. Let's do that. The card, no, but it seems it would stack adds a paid ability with quarantine system. The Jemison combo doesn't make it appear, it just speeds up it to lethal range. Yeah, you need to have it on the table. And then like you use it when someone accesses, you just like move a bunch of advancements over. It's really weird, but it's a bit more flimsy. It doesn't come from your deck, which is like the fun thing. R&D's the mark. Here we go. SDS is safe. As soon as something is stolen, like a 3-pointer, we hit threat 3. I forgot this is threat 3 text. Santa smurfing is Borehole Ag, playing neither Borehole nor Ag. Oh, I didn't realize that. Paladin. Twinning. That's scary. This lived. Okay, so I've been seeing some criminal decks that are like playing Mystic Miami. I don't know why they don't just play voice pad. Draw. Now we want a remote server. We'll draw once more. We would love just having like an anvil here is so good. We can consider icing this up. Again, we kind of want to hit the threat threshold, so we'll just put this on server 1 and we'll go from there. Miami stacks. It does. It does. It's cheaper to get down. It's a resource though. It's like kind of mixed. How do you counter this over-advanced Rococo? Just pinhole? If you pinhole it, you replace it with itself and then they're forced to access it. There is no hard way to counter it if you set it up correctly besides having a lot of cards in hand or having a way to protect net damage. So like Airblades works. That's why we also have a core damage version fucking funny. All right, this doesn't prevent core damage, but this actually does beat the deck. This niche card. Miami has a sick catch and all target. I think like Miami is my favorite out of all of them. You're right about that. Are you kidding me? You can refuse to use the pinhole trigger. I don't think you can, Kira. It's not optional. You have to access a card. It's not an optional replacement effect, and I don't think you can choose not to. Beetlejuice. That's a good way of putting it, yeah. We'll put this on archives. This card's actually pretty good too, because if they face check into it, we get an advancement on our clearinghouse. That's good. Hey, Scratch, hold on. I immediately dropped off A&R as soon as the set came out for no reason. Thanks for keeping me interested. Yeah, that's really good to hear. It's a really good set. Does the runner ID play blue cards? It's very likely. But Criminal is in a state right now. Okay, this is where it's ugly because this is where now we need to get onto the table. What's it called? We just need to get a 5-3 on the table, the big one. Draw. Okay. So this seems ridiculous, but we're going to do this. Actually. Oh, wait, she's unique. No, that is correct. But the idea here is that we're just going to score it on the table. And so we force them to interact with our defenses. Pinhole hoses you if you have more than one server. That's the thing. You have more than one server, but then you have to over advance. Like we have to trash this and then use the reconstruction to over install on this. Oh, this Winchester is going to hit like a truck. Okay. An ice that people are playing for the first time ever. Good traces here. HQ is the mark. It's not an on encounter. So Airblades fire. So the first one is trash and installed program. That's the one that they probably have to pay the most into. But all of these subroutines are sick. We could spend extra. I just don't really care about the core beer. Yeah, Winchester's like, okay. It's strange to me that the Winchester's showing up in the deck that gives out bad publicity. But like, sentries in Weyland are kind of cursed. Junkie! Take every chance you can to pull blue cards out of your deck. All right, they paid for that one, so we're going to trash the Airblades and we're going to end the run. Not Airblades. You're gone. Nice try. Counters usually a challenge Rococo before he gets up and counters. Yes, you have to. And we're just like in top deck seamless launch mode. We don't have a lot of money here. The Winchester's probably going to do us well. I think Winchester lines up really well against Carmen, right? Like 2, 3, 4, 5 to break. Pretty cool. Aziaf is probably better for us to score out than the Above the Law. The problem here is we have a money issue. So like, I think here we could consider just, I think we extract the Spin Doctor as like perverse as that is. That might be wrong. And next turn we triple advance this to start our reconstruction contract and then like we're going somewhere. Play because I can, because you can. Is that run R&D one shuffle? Oh wow, I totally forgot that this is a problem for us. That's okay. If Rococo gets the 3 counters, you're already doing something wrong. It's tricky. Like I get why it happens, but it is definitely tricky. Extract spin, correct. Spin back, spin to get more draw. Yes, yes. More spins. No, you're not wrong. I like that. Sure, Gambo, okay. All right, so we're just gonna do advance. We have to trash a card here though, which is ugly. I'm okay trashing archives. We just have to make sure we res this before. We can also just trash the Angelique, which like we have another Angelique, so it's not that important. So we hit a Shibboleth and a Chesva. It's nice to hit their programs. And now Rococo, at any point when they access a remote server, we can get 3 counters on the 3 net damage. Or 3 core damage as long as we have 3 credits. So this is where it starts. Yo, Pyodor, is it the great boat ID? It is. We are doing some defensive work here. So our next line is like, we actually want to score out. Like we'll do Above the Law with an Angelique. And now if Sundworks runs it, like Angelique does 2 damage and then this will do 4 damage of Clearinghouse. Or we do 2 damage and then we pull an Urtica and then it's 2 plus 3. No, 2 plus, yeah, 3. It's 5 damage. So like we can build these weird lines. Maryland seems important this archetype to pull Rococo. Yeah, we have Regolith because we don't have influence. But I was also thinking, what's it called, Cyber Sand. But I'm much happier with Regolith here. But yeah, having a 2-coster to pull this is quite nice. We also have Formicaries we can extract. So you're allowed to use Rococo because you have advanceable cards? Yeah, as long as we have this Alket on the table, which is our only target, so good thing that we didn't extract it, we are allowed to pop Rococo at any paid ability window because we technically have an advanceable target. As you have trashing a 2-cost to pull Rococo as a line, it is also a line and it will get the advancements itself. And having 2 Rococo is totally legitimate and makes the combo even faster. The problem is like we didn't get our Formicary down. Sneak Door, nice. Okay, we'll res the Alket. They break it for 3. Well, we gotta res it. They might flush all of HQ, which is totally fine. We just hope that Angelique lives so we can put Angelique on HQ. All right, the axe is literally the worst 3 axes in our hand. Cybersim seems good for maximum no change in game state. It is actually ugly though, because that one does catch you. If you don't have money early, you can't res your ice in it, so you probably want to play Ice Walls or something cheap. But yeah, it's kind of ugly. I don't think Cyber Sand is too easy to play in this deck. Paragon, nice. Okay, so here, if we put Spin Doctor in the remote server, I think we have an interest to put Angelique on HQ. We probably actually just want to put... So understanding what to do here, like I think we can do Angelique in the remote server above the law on the remote server. Spin Doctor on the table, maybe? I just don't want to be forced to spin and then they sneak door. Like that's the worst case. This is a tricky line. Like the deck has interesting lines for sure. We could also just like Audacity out the above the law. That's to trash the twinning, which is like, you know, pretty good. So the question is whether we defend HQ with Angelique or we try and score I think we'll try and score the above the law. I don't think they'll flush HQ again with the twinning. We just need to make sure we keep our money up. Best way to get your Rococo charge is actually to persuade your Padma, playing your opponent to charge it for you. Does Padma not say installed runner card? It just says installed card. It's pretty goofy. Now we could lose, right? Like we need to make sure that we can res this anvil, and this anvil's not going to keep them out. But very importantly, we can use this anvil to get Anemone to get them closer to dying. So this anvil fires, which is sick because we don't have to trash something, and we res this for 3 credits, which is not enough, but is almost enough. Okay, so here, thinking, they have 2 clicks left. It's advancement, not power counters? Yeah, this is advancement. It's not power counters. Okay. Oh, but Padma is. Never mind. Yeah, right. So if we trash our Winchester, they can still diversion of us, but it means we can get an Anemone. We can discard a card from our hand, and that will put them on 1 card in hand. With 1 card in hand, they can't run. Oh, no, but we can't use our op ability. So no, we'll just let it fire. Because if we use our op ability, then they can challenge the Rococo. Yeah, we can't do that. Next cycle Weyland mechanics proliferate. Confirmed. Okay, it's all good. All you. All right, so we gain a credit. They have to trash one of their installed cards. Not a great targets here. Sneak Door. Okay, cool. And they get an access here. They can steal SDS. It comes at a cost. Paragon's good. Jai, no. Twinning, you're gonna see 3. Nice. They trashed a clearinghouse. It's worth knowing that we have 2 clearinghouses. Okay. Uh-oh, we can lose. We can easily lose here. If they run server 3, we lose. If we run server 3, no, if we run server 3, we're fine. Turtle? Cody, how's it going? Oh, we win. We win. Okay, so this is the combo. They have 2 cards in hand, so they're going to access. So what we're going to do is we have an advanceable card, so we're allowed to hit Reconstruction Contract. So we're going to hit Reconstruction Contract. We'll wait for them to confirm the access because they can jack out here. This is the last time. As soon as they've committed to it, they can't jack out. How are you? I'm doing well. I'm trying to flatline some runner with some weird change in game states. Oh, no. Red Planet is coming back with proliferation. That would be cool. Red Planet needs to be banned. Just get rid of that card. It's not good. It's not good for no one. So in theory, the winning agenda is in here, but the problem is, not the problem is we can overinstall it, which means it's super safe. Like it's nice that you can actually use Rococo to save agendas as long as you have a Spin Doctor on the table or it's last click. I have a target. Would you like me to confirm? Are you sure? Hey, Jester. I have a target. Would you like me to confirm is so funny with Angelique. No, Riz, Danielle, and Angelique are two counters. Probably a bomb, but I gotta land them somehow. Cool. I have a target. All right, so we're going to fire the Rikoko. We're going to trash this. We're going to move all the advancements. We're going to first fire op. So we're going to get an Urtica. We're going to put the Urtica in server 1, or server 3, sorry, on top of the agenda, which is now safe so we don't lose. We advance the Urtica, and now this does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your choice. Oops. GG. That's what the deck can do. And that was only one advancement. They almost won on R&D, but like Urtica does it on its own, and then we can pay 2 more credits for that. We actually could have flatlined with core damage. No, we couldn't afford core damage. And then Garza will fire for 2 for a second flatline. That's what the deck does. I honestly think it's pretty reasonable. Oh, we'll see. There's not a lot of tech out there. Thanks, you too. I was scared about those inlines. That helps a heck of a lot. Yeah, we're pretty lucky we got the inlines down. If S&D Works got the inlines down, we would have to just do 3 core damage there. Or sorry, only 1 core damage there, which is like nowhere near as powerful. But yeah, that's the line here. And if they don't run, we score out, and then like we try and whittle it a bit better. But yeah, our centrals are pretty weak to something like twinning, so that good pressure does get there. Of course. Thanks for the game. Time to put No One Home's back in my deck. Lanza, how's it going? The thing is, if they do No One Home, then you play Clearinghouse. Or you play, sorry, obviously Clearinghouse, but then you play, that's why we have 1 Urtica and we have 1 Cerebral Overrider. Because you're right, No One Home is a way to tech against this. Airblade X equals good? I think Airblade X is better than it looks, depending on the meta. We just had a game up on the channel, which was an Asmari game, and the runner installed Airblades and didn't actually end up using it, even though I think he went through at least 1 toll booth. I think he was saving it for a funhouse or something. And like Pat called this out, which is so fun. It's like, if you look at toll booth, right? Going through it, 3 credits. Now, toll booth is not the most common card in the format. Luckily, that Corp deck was running multiple toll booth. But the idea is that if you look at the Airblades, which, you know, allows you to get through 3 toll booths, that is 1 credit to save you 9 credits clicklessly. It's literally a telework contract that you don't have to click. And Pat called that out, and I find that to be so funny, as much as in that matchup, it didn't actually do much, which the runner was saving them a bit. There's only 1 instance where they could have fired, but the fact that the Airblade is just a clickless telework contract in that matchup is so fun. It makes it look really, really good. Corp. Forgot to change the name. Yo, we didn't mention this, but it's been a week or so now. JNet's running well. Shout out to the JNet dev team. I don't know what they did, but JNet's like back in business. Flip switch could work, yes. Flip switch, if they want to jack out at the last minute, they can do it. Yo, this is Andre. Former local meta. Yo, Kevin, how's it going? What does this deck do? We're doing the Urtica Cypher Clearinghouse seamless combo. How you doing, Kevin? With Angelique, we have another way to charge the Clearinghouse, or sorry, the Rococo, the reconstruction contract, which is really fun. Let's do this. Okay. So we're assuming this is a 50 card Hoshiko, assuming not on DreamNet, but I think the changes are not enforced till Friday. Yo, David, thanks for the game. You have to pass priority back, then the runner can flip. Yes. If they can do something and then you'd be like, okay, I'll panic out. We're going to keep this hand. This is good enough. And CityWorks Project is something we actually want to jam on the table as soon as we get a reconstruction contract. Unfortunately, this hand ain't it. So I think we're going to draw once. Oh, that's really bad. Now that we have both of these, we have to get them back in our deck or our combo doesn't work. We're not running 3, we're running 2. We can always install advance them for like tempo damage, but like, let's not do that. 2 streams a week is awesome. So nice to watch while working. Hey, Ma. 2 streams a week has been really fun. I don't think we have like a good understanding of what each stream is. Like we generally do the deck list of the week on Thursdays. We'll do some news today, but it's really nice to have this time. Correa. She's gone. I'm not a gun person, but like the amount of effort that has to go to drawing a gun, that makes sense. The barrel on this gun is way too thin. Whatever, like, I'm a Canadian. We don't know what guns are here, but like there's, I think with tickle, right? All right, unfortunately we put this on HQ. So we can try and score this thing out. We just don't want to score this out until we have something on the table that gets a Rococo. All right, Anvil, great enough for R&D. This thing on the remote server is like pretty ugly, especially as the innermost, so you generally don't want to do that. If they trash the clearinghouse, we're happy. If they don't trash the clearinghouse, we'll extract it. Andre knows what we're playing, so it doesn't feel bad. Was the gun seating on a horse's back? Yes. But people do that. Like, that's not unheard of. Like, cowboys did that. But their guns were not, like, from Halo, so... Recoilless rifle. Doesn't feel stable. I love your mustache, Kevin. That's very kind. Come on. What is going on? Thank you, Kevin. Maybe it shoots laser bullets. There's a chance, but then like it also has like the classic, like those sort of vents off the side. That's usually for gas, right? And like she clearly is. There's a magazine in the bottom. I don't know. 28 scope and a pistol grip on a 22 seems right to me. Ah, the Americans in the chat, huh? Skateboard tricks countered by skate tricks. It's annoying how that's true. Yeah. It's fun to see how much skateboard tricks are out there on the corpse side. Op and Ateo really shine for funky tricks. I have not played enough Ateo on this channel. Like really have not. Very obviously have not. But yeah, I'm like, obviously Op is an absolute darling. Let's find, all right, that's something. All right, this is how we take down, and unfortunately Hoshiko has Link, and back when like Winchester was the most playable, like 419, Lat, and Hoshiko were the most prevalent. So like any trace ice becomes like substantially less good. So here we're just trying to like get the stupid inlines in the basket into the bin. People love the retro look on their laser rifle. Metropole stash is great. I'm at the point where I can curl it up. Oh, sick. Snap res. We're going to go ahead and destroy this for a 3-coster because it's not great on the remote server, but we've taken down... The laser Scorpion has taken down 2 inlines in a row, which, like... Can't be upset about that. Excuse me? Programs first, hardware second? What the heck? In what world is that correct? You want to take down the hardware first so they're over MU. I don't know if we afford 2 for Garza. I think we can. That leaves us on not a lot of credits. No, I don't think we can afford 2 for Garza. Because they're already over hand size. Like, what are we hitting here? No, they can trash 2. This is not great. Doomtown stream with a greased, curled mustache. It's been a while. We haven't shown off the Weird West edition. Your first game was Atea? Scratch, it was, but like, we haven't revisited it. They didn't trash Garza. Oh, they couldn't trash Garza. Nice. I got pulled into Airblades during the Keeling Prison meta. It won me over. We're getting played pretty hard here. I guess we're gonna do this. Yeah, they only have 1 credit. I missed that. So now they're gonna trash it. So here we can res it for 2 if we really want to. They're gonna redraw anyways, so I don't think I want to do this. Like they're gonna have to discard cards anyways. So like doing value tempo damage doesn't seem incredibly appropriate. Now, what 3-coster can we get from our deck when we extract this? I don't know. Oh, this is the deck that's actually on stream. So the first game that we put up on the channel is a game against the Progeny, the False Zero's son. And they're playing this Hoshiko deck. Oh, no, but it was a Lu deck. But the deck they're playing is like on Twinning and Prepaid. And for the life of me, I don't understand why this deck is not on... I don't understand why this deck is not on Mystic Miami and like the other ones. Like Prepaid. Let's find out what the 3-costers are. Afshar, Aket, Anemone. We're gonna get Cleaver pretty hard. That's something. Then we'll do Archives, and I think we want to push this next turn. So the idea is that if they run this, they have to get through the Aket. We get the Formicary over. They might worry about the Formicary. And then if we score the Azief, we trash the Formicary to get a Rococo. And it will see the Azief. Bonjour, Benjamin. Ça va? How's it going? My Sable's on 20 with Chesva and Paladin. That to me makes sense. Like, Paladin is extra. Chesva is kind of what you expect. But I like it. Yeah, but like, I don't know. The deck is not on Companions from what I've seen. It's on Prepaid. And I think you play the Companions in Anarch way sooner than Prepaid for a bunch of reasons. Doesn't Mystic have a downside? It does, but it's like not super relevant, especially if you build your deck with like Katurga Breakout. Heaven forbid. All right, we'll Reza hard him. It's a 1 and 3. I don't want them to get to points. We now also have a 4 cost to resed. All right, we got a credit back. They gained some. Good, thanks. Good to hear. Yeah, it's like the companions have downsides. Mystic is the middle point. Okay, so this is the Lu deck, but with Hosh instead. Okay, cool. We didn't get a 2 cost resed, which, like, bummer. It's a bummer. So we'd have to trash the Hordem for an Afshar, and I think that's actually pretty fine into Audrey, because I think he's going to plow into HQ here. I don't think we seamless this. I think we just trash this. 3 costs, we get the Afshar, which we want on HQ anyways. We hit a Strike Fund. That's not good, but we hit a Katurga. That's a bit better. And not a great draw. Debbie Downtown, I think, is slightly underrated as a twinning Charger and Crim. Oh yeah, it's not bad. The problem with Debbie is, like, if you try and build a functional criminal deck and you put enough run events in it to make Debbie feel good, you've built a pretty bad deck in general. Like, it's really hard to get enough events in your deck and feel okay about it. That's at least what I've seen. Yeah, Debbie can charge. Miss Bones also can charge, which is pretty great. How aggressively are we going to just chew through our damn deck? I think we will. I think here we're going to do an Anvil. We can trash another card. Otherwise, for them, this requires a card from their grip. Oh, this just fires. But thinking, we could always, like, go ahead and... Yeah, they actually couldn't break any ice. I don't know why they dirty laundry here. Like, a border control ends the run and a cat ends the run. This is a really aggressive dirty laundry. They're going to see 3 cards, though. But we can go, like, trash this to get a Regolith on the table, but they're definitely going to trash a Regolith. So we could trash the After... No, we'll just let this fire. Yeah, that's a really, really aggressive dirty laundry. Respect. Whoa, they got rid of the Audrey. Wild. Res and move Formicary. You forget you can do this, and then you forget your deck has no money in it. This is a really expensive dirty laundry. Katurga and divide. He's on 3 Katurga? 3 Katurga. Gonna see 3 cards here. Nothing. No steal, no trash. Mind you, there is 1 SDS. Okay, so here we can consider pushing behind the Aket. We just need more money. I think we just click 3 here really obnoxiously. We didn't draw into an economy. We only played 1 hedge fund, 1 extract. So again, the deck doesn't have Rashida, and Rashida really helps. But yeah, that's way more aggressive than I would be in. I appreciate it. It's a fun way to play runner for sure. But that's super aggro. But yeah, I think you saw also, like, False Zero, Liam, the other in the False Zero family, like, played so super aggro into P, and, like, it's super exciting to watch. I was super down on Debbie when she was released and spent the first 2 weeks building decks with her, and I find her better than I'd expected. I think she is better than expected. I wonder if she finds a slot in mid-range like Criminal. I doubt it. Hey, Ken. Nice. Banhar. Everybody just wants cards in hand. All right, so we're going to score out in 2 turns. Like, next turn we can do install advance, maybe. I think we'd at least want to have border control credits. They might, like, go ahead and flush HQ, which is pretty likely here. If they take our City Works, they take our City Works. It's whatever. Buy a Benz and run a Ben installs Debbie for free. I'm sold. What are you going to do, stab me? I think Buy a Bands with Chezwa is, like, really, really cool. And I think I need to revisit as because of that interaction. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure why they're not on Companions. Like, I think Companions are so much better than prepaid. Cleaver? Uh-oh. I think we have 1 more. I don't think we have any more 3-cost code gates. So this is going to be 1 credit and 1 card. Sorry, it's going to be 2 cards. Hitting a Steel Skin, it's going to be, like, no cards. So let's see how many they swap. They swipe. Hey, Teron, how's it going? I can see 2 here. What's the deck you're on today? It's on a Clearinghouse Urtica combo deck. It's been good so far. This game's ugly. We need a... We really need to hit a Regolith to be back in the game in any meaningful way. But I think what the deck does is inherently pretty interesting. Okay, that's good. We do credit, hedge. I wish we had a code gate off the border control. We don't. Our 3-costers are pretty thin. So if we just install the City Works is not good. We can just install the Clearinghouse. I think we need to get another ice on HQ, unfortunately. Eventually they'll like just build up their twinning. It's gonna be a couple turns before like we're really worried about the pressure. So I think we can afford to put this on HQ. If they run too late, this also gives us the ability to pull out Anemone, which is another line the deck has. We have to remember we have 2 clearinghouses out, so if we get an what's it called on the table, a reconstruction contract, we can only pull traps from our deck until we spin Dr. Easy's back. Is advancing a cat not an option? It is an option. It's just kind of rough against firstly economy, but it's also kind of rough inherently against Banhar. So it's about the positionality. It's just like spending your whole turn and 3 credits, like that cost is like 3 turns. Hey Kago, any chance on Chimera on stream? I think so. Maybe not today, but it's a format I want to try out for sure. Is there much tag around? Hardware always used to be harder to get rid of. There is a bit of tagging, but the thing is like, if they're worried about tags, their multi-axis engine is twinning anyways. So sure, the prepaid's safe, but the twinning isn't safe, and that's the payoff. So it's yes and no. That being said, tagging is like almost entirely NBN at this point. Like out of faction Oppo research, like the way that HHN used to be played last format, like not a thing anymore. What is Chimera format? So this was made by Santa and Man in the Moon, and it's a format in which there's a website that generates decks that are all singletons, kind of like Commander and Magic from my understanding. The card pool has limitations. It's a curated card pool. It's from the entire card pool of you know, the history of the game. And yeah, you just play it. It's just all 1-ups. That's it. Super easy. You just hit import deck list and you're good to go. You don't have to do any deck building. Okay, so this is another raindrops. If we res the border control, they can break it. It means we can go get a 3-coster from our deck, not amazing, but that means the Afshar will end the run. They can always bounce into it to trade 2 credits for 2 cards. Or we can let them take 2 damage and go through here to C2. I don't think we can afford to res this. Yeah, it's like Highlander. It's a mixture of Highlander and Keyforge. Yeah. As an old prop player, that sounds amazing. Yeah, you can see their list of like banned cards and all that fun stuff. Another steel skin, at least all 3 steel skins are out now, and 3 Katurgas are out. So they're going to run out of cards at some point. We'd have to make sure that the City Works survives. I don't know if it makes sense to do a double swipe with twinning, considering they did one a couple turns ago. It didn't work, but we've gone through 19 cards. We've seen 1 agenda, no cycling. I think it makes sense. I feel like other factions should have a bit of faction tagging, especially Weyland. They do. It's just not great. Weyland has very little ways to tag. HB has 1 tagging card. Jinteki now has... Whatever, man. You don't have cards in your deck either. You can. They recommend you not to. Oh, this is important. I think we'll just empty this first, and then in the following turn, we'll push the City Works on the table. Because we can crack this to get a Rikoko. I'm scared of the EOTL faction having in-house tagging, to be honest. They're allowed to have single tagging, no problem, because end of line clears the tag, but double tagging would be a problem. Well, like, there's an HB, like, tag card that doesn't have a trace. Nobody plays it. But it's interesting. And Jinteki now has a tag payoff card. This is, like, the hardest deck to kill. Onacom, Airblade, 3 steel skins out. What does this Archives run do? Oh, just Leech. Whatever. Oh, and Carmen. Okay, that's a bit better. So this is where they start smashing R&D and we lose to R&D. Okay. Well, we have to force the issue. We have a Rikoko. Server 3. It's worth noting that... Wait, what kind of damage does Banhar do? Net damage. Bummer. Jaguarundi gets some tags. Jaguarundi is an underplayed card. Phonotria is a tag card Jinteki has. Airblade Banhar is so good. I think that's what the deck is doing, yeah. It's really good if you're like, you just want to, you know, smash centrals, which works enough. Thule with distributed tracing was actually in our top cut of West Coast Nats. Yo, get out. I think nobody has single tag tech. So like, if you can do something cool with distributed tracings, you can do something cool with distributed tracing. Okay, the biggest issues our clearinghouses are in hand. We need to get them back into the deck. Res, border control, server 3 is the Banhar. We unfortunately don't have a Kogate in our deck we can pop. So this is going to be 2 damage. Let's see what we hit here. They could... He's airblading it. Okay. You do have to contest this sooner than later. So this needs to survive a turn. Okay, thinking. I need to figure out what 3-costers we have in our deck that we can get here. Where is our deck builder? So 3-cost code gates. We probably should have another in the list. It's a single Afshar. That's not good enough. We need to have another 3-cost code gate in the list so we could pull one here because he cannot run back. The problem is we don't have another 3-cost code gate. So the most taxing thing at 3-cost that we can pull is... Uh-oh. It's bad. That's the answer. It's bad. Now, if he trashes it, this is relatively expensive at 4. Like, can't understate that this card is expensive. We could always trash this to get an anemone to do 2 damage. I don't think that's worth it. Yeah, we'll let him trash this one. Hey, Mondi. I was thinking, is there Metropole Grid today an hour earlier, so naturally it's an hour late. I thought Rococo could not be popped if there's no advances. Exactly, we can't pop it because it doesn't change game state. I was popping the border control. No, I was worrying about what to get with the border control, not the Rococo. We can't pop the Rococo, you're totally right. All right. Hoshiko will run out of cards eventually. Second prepaid, 11 cards left. Probably is worth something. Okay. I think we just have to push the issue. This is 4 damage, plus anemone is 2 damage. I think we just push this. He might know that we're not on punitive. We actually have punitive credits here, so there might be some respect here. Yo, actually, how's it going? If Maryland takes out an ob, does the ability fire? Yes. The card trashes itself, because the card says trash it. It does work. It's not the game trashing it. When people say the game is trashing it, it's about game rules, not card rules. So, like... card rules are fine, but when it's like game rules, like uniqueness clause over installation, that doesn't fire. Every week I forget they're 2x streams now. So you hit the notify button, you hit that follow button, you can get the bell if you want. Also, you can like the video if you're on YouTube. That actually helps a heck of a lot. I noticed that a lot. All the heavily liked videos like go up on the recommendations pretty hard. So if you don't mind taking a second to do that, it really does help the channel. All right, so I think we just score this one out. The question is, like, do we lose when he sees 3 on R&D? It's hard to not. It is hard not to do that with 2 Angeliques out. So he's leaving this on the table. We could always triple advance this and let this cook, which, like, doesn't help us. But we can do advance hedge fund. I think that's, like, funny. Another ice on R&D means that he has to produce a code gate or the anvil does something gross. But we have no incentive to leaving this. He might think it's a Neurospike deck. Sweet, like, thank you. The game only trashes for illegal state, multiple uniques, multiple consoles, multiple grids. I'd love to do AMT, so hopefully. I don't want to discard a card. I don't want to seamless this. I definitely don't want to Audacity it, but now we win if R&D holds, if we score this out. So I'm going to put this on R&D and we'll just chill. Mind you, this is 2 damage plus 4 damage plus anemone damage, so this is actually really hard to steal. So we don't have to score it out. But ideally, we like top deck and somehow score it as EF or end a line. We score this, and then next turn we like Audacity out. Try and jam the Cityworks next turn. Oh, that actually might be a better line, yeah, because I think he's going to lock the top of R&D. It might have been better to score this out so we can just jam the Cityworks. I think I like that better, Kevin. I think you're right. What is this? Oh, it's a border control. That's good. Why don't we want to seamless it? Because we don't really care about the click compression or the credits off seamless, and seamless is the only card we had that lets us to advance reconstruction contract. As much as that's not an amazing card right now, on the basis that we our clearinghouses are spoken for. I wonder if anyone made a Banhart Clan Vengeance deck and find that the winner of NSG Eternal played max with those cards. Oh, Clan Vengeance is really good in Eternal. Hey, Dave, MG stream at the time I can watch live. Good to see. How you doing? So this is a credit or 2 cards. Mind you, border control here, we can pull the anemone, but this doesn't do anything. So this, though, they can't get through. So this actually does end the run. They should jack out here. They don't want to lose 2 credits for no reason. Advanced score install Cityworks, advanced Cityworks threatening win with seamless. Yeah, but then this only does 3 damage. They only have 10 cards left. Maybe. Ooh, Formicary. Ah, it's not very good. They break it for 1. So here we can do advanced score, install advance. This does 3 damage plus border control is 2 damage. So that's a 5 damage run. Then if we top deck, like, I feel like we just need to waste his time a bit. Because, like, we lose to the twinning. So We just have to not lose to the twinning. And if we put this on the table, he can like run R&D and then run the remote server. He might contaminate the Audrey and then like try and get through the anvil. With the anvil, we have no 5 costers to trash, so we can't produce border controls. We have no defensive upgrade to produce to stop R&D. We don't have a 1 coster to trash at all, either to go get a 0 coster from the deck to get like a spin doctor or something. How would Seamless be click compression? So the idea is that we can get 2 advancements for a single click and a single credit. So that means if we wanted to score it out, we'd actually be able to score it out and have a click left. Lindux, how's it going? So that's what people refer to seamless launch. The idea is that the idea is that you can do more on your turn. It gives you more for a single click than just the basic advancement of basic action of advancing. Okay, well, we will score it out. You could do Neurospec here if we had that deck. So unfortunately, the Forma Carry doesn't do much. We lose probably on R&D. 3, 6, 7, 8. There's 12 points in 24. So like that's a huge density. If we draw once, we can maybe make it safer in HQ. Otherwise, if we do install advance again, this is only 3 damage plus 2 damage. And I don't think he's taking any damage on R&D. So it's likely that he can like swoop R&D, swoop server 3. So I think we have to wait for him to like exhaust the twinning and then install advance next turn. So I'll draw once. That's interesting. Install in server 3? Yeah, that's fine. This doesn't do much, I don't think. Jam City works. I don't want it when he's going to like run R&D C3. Like it's so easy for him to get a game point, and then as long as he has enough cards in hand, he doesn't have to worry about it. Maybe. We could have done install advance, and the next turn, if he doesn't expect seamless, we could win. It's a bit risky for sure. But I'm pretty sure he's just going to send it into a central here. Score, Hedgeful, install Clearinghouse. This with no advancements is not amazing. This does work, but they have to use them separately. Okay, so this is like maybe the worst case. So this card, you can. Okay, seeing most from HQ. So Cityworks is gone. It's a bummer. And now he's going to see the top of the deck as well. So we know we're not going to draw Naziev. Trashed more cards. Okay, and trashed his Cerebral Overrider. So he still has to consider running this, which is really important for us. IA Audacity seems doable. Yeah, it would be IA Audacity or IA Seamless. We couldn't IA Audacity that turn because we didn't have enough clicks. Because we had to do advance, install, right? It actually might have been right. Oh no, if we do it, we might have been right to do advance, install Audacity to make it a 4 damage card. That actually might have been right. He's running here, but he knows these cards. How many did he see on R&D? 3 cards, and he did trash. What's the point of this run? Did you see the top 3 of R&D? Yeah, I think Audacitying the 5-3 might have been correct. Remember the brief period of time when Divide and Conquer was busted with Turning Wheel? Not really. I remember the legends. Actually, I have COVID, but that side I'm all right. Ah, Dave, sorry to hear. Hopefully you're feeling better. Hey, Veronica, I've been practicing a bunch of HB for Standard. What's your thoughts on PD versus ASA? I'm not a big PD fan. I feel like it's not that relevant. ASA gives you an immense amount of click compression, and so many cards right now in Modern Netrunner care about the board, let alone all the tricks to install cards on the runner's turn. I think it's amazing. Trash 2 still 1 unless my short-term memory is the worse than I thought. I think you saw 3 from R&D, trashed 2. So I think you know the top. You stole from HQ. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like there's so many really good cards that care about being on the table. Like the click compression to build remote servers and then the flexibility fully operational. I don't think PD has a power card anymore, right? Like fully operational ASA is, you know, so good. You feeling cheeky? You feeling cheeky here? HB Goat faction, multiple sick decks, yeah. I don't know, PD just feels like it doesn't do enough. You ready? Ready for a ruse? PD1 EMEA? No, came in second. So this is also sick because it shuffles the deck so we can actually top deck a win. Okay, I'm going to end the run here. Install 3 coster from deck. It's going to be a Anemone. We're going to install on server 3 so we can do 2 net damage. and end the run. Why? So he goes back. The power PD card's your digital life. Yeah, but you can play your digital life better in ASA group. You play fully operational, you draw 6, you play digital life if you want to. It came in third at American Continentals. I think that's a better line. We really need him to run back here. We did shuffle R&D, so like you can go R&D if you want, but running back here is so important because it does 2 damage. No! Damn, okay, we top deck an Azief, we win. Okay, that's almost as good. Sokka really doing the PD from any other HBID. Sokka played at ASA. Yeah. So, yeah. Can't believe he didn't take the bait. I think we advanced to this once and in credit. How balanced do the factions feel in standard right now? At the highest competitive level, we just had like a rotation in the meta, so it's a bit hard to tell, but I think every faction you see in top cut. So I think it's pretty good. I think it's in a really, really good spot. I don't understand how ASA doesn't just lose to good Anarch play. Maybe it's my inexperience with list. Yeah, it's super competitive. ASA can go fast, and like the ice is actually really well positioned into the meta for many, many reasons. I think we're gonna see maybe another Divide and Conquer here. I don't know why he's not running it. Yeah, but I think we're in a pretty good spot. Sokka did play Asa Intercontinentals, I think. Yeah, I think so. I think Sokka played a very similar deck to what he played at and won EMEA Continentals, which was an Asa deck with like Anoetic, Managarm, not Seamless, but Biotic Wage Workers. They have no problem trashing your stuff. They don't, but it's expensive. Right, like Anarch doesn't deal with Drafter well. They're not amazing at playing a lot of pinholes and getting their stuff very quickly. Ikawa's in a reasonable spot. You have the click compression to get upgrades. Anarchs aren't dealing with Brawn particularly well. They have to get the Takobi down, which is a 1-of in the deck. And like, I don't know. I think it's in a really good spot. I think Ace is also like a very, one of the more simpler decks to play. Drafter's 2 net damage. Depends where you put it. But like all ice is 2 net damage depending where you put it, right? Oh, yeah. I think he misclicked. Yeah, no worries. All right. Brawn is 3 net damage? Yeah, but you don't put Brawn in the outermost because you don't want it to get hippoed. So you generally don't. All right, we did it. We made him eat an Urtica. Also felt unplayable so far, but maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. I took Sokka's list and couldn't make it work. I think Sokka's list is harder to play than most other aces that play Seamless because it's more contingent on Wage Worker sticking, which runners are getting better at dealing with. But like, obviously, he won a big event. I think it's undeniably, it does something. It won Cannats as well. Like it's good. It's like undeniably good. We can grind some Asa on stream. I think Jeff probably has some Asa on stream somewhat recently, but it's in a really good spot right now. Isa's number net damage kind of reductionist. Yeah, it's all ice in the format, unfortunately. But that's why that deck is really good because it still has like Anoetic Managarm, which means got him. Maybe we should have double advanced. I don't know. He's on 4 cards now. We're winning by top decking. What's it called? This is his only decoder. So that doesn't really matter. It's just for the anvil. We actually want to overinstall the... Damn it. Damn it. Okay. Top deck 1 of 3 copies or 1 of 2 copies of Azief or the 1 copy of the other 3-2 we win. Sokka did have a good explanation on the Ace list in the middle of his EMES stream. Yeah, that's a really good way to actually like get good at any of the decks Sokka plays is he streams all of it and he explains what he does really well. I'm often putting 2 ice on remotes and aces, so maybe it's a playstyle difference. Yeah, you rush at the first ice to get like an early Nico or early Rashida. You should face check into the ice. I don't think enough players are face checking into HB ice turn 1. It doesn't hurt you that bad. Nobody's playing MIC. And then from that point on, you double ice upgrade. Like you work on it a bit. But like the Genda Suite's good. It's just pretty robust. Your Aces streams are not true evidence of the deck's power level. Fam always ends up drawing the worst hands ever. He's so down on himself sometimes on streams. Nice. Good game. That was a slog. We drew poorly. The deck had tech. He respected the remote server really well. But we got there in the end. Good game. Get rid of your twinning. That was That was some aggro lines. This is the Lewd deck, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Prepaid over companions to me, it's a hard sell. Drafter turn 1 isn't bad. No, it's not bad. There's like very little. Got lucky not losing labor rights. Yeah, it might not have mattered that much, but yeah, not losing labor rights is good. Why are you not on Why are you not on companions? I was gonna say, yeah, like the face checks into HP are not that bad. Like you want to hit the gatekeeper early. Like who cares? It fixes their hand, but not that bad. And then like you can't deal with the 6 strength gatekeeper, so that's good. Drafter doesn't matter early. Turn 1, like res a ablative or res a Hagen, it's bad for the corp. Like face check early. HP ice is not that bad. Top of Swiss on Saturdays on MIC. Yeah, that's the thing. I think people should play MIC. It is expensive. And then you can't do like double install. You have to do double install credit. But if they go down to 0 for an MIC, it has to be Rashida in the remote server. They lose the game. Yeah, but the Asa matchup, I think it's like, it's a very, very, very fascinating matchup for both sides. I like it a lot. The best time to paycheck AB is turn 1, draft and gatekeeper, and no one is on MIC. Saunders said, yeah. CTC's Aces from Cascadia is fun as hell. Hey, Merrick. Yeah, I haven't played enough of that one. I played against it, as you might tell in the write-up. And I think that deck can just fly. Too much mental work to when I play RL. Forgot Hosh and Banner. Ace. That tracks. I've been there. That's really funny. That's the totally cromulent answer to that question. I feel MIC stonks are awful until last click raindrops. Oh, that's true. That is true. That is a weird one for that to be a problem. Jaina has made me lazy. Ah, Jaina has your back, though. It does all the work for you. It was like the unfortunate thing is like you can see this deck on the channel. It was like game 1 of Cannats. It's probably slightly different, but this was a Lu deck, and now it's a Hoshiko deck. And I think as a Hoshiko deck, it is probably just strictly better because Lu's ability is kind of just Hoshiko's ability, but a bit more contingent. Hey, cheers! Thanks for the game. Any deck list recommendations of what to steal to try to come back to the game? Yeah, Pink. I think the easiest thing you can do is, and you have to be mindful because there was a ban list change in just the last 2 weeks preparing for Worlds, is some decks are not entirely legal, but the easiest things you can do is go to results. We just had the Continental season and National season is still ongoing. But if you look at like, let's look at Intercontinentals or Continentals. A lot of the lists you can get and always be running are just linked off of this. So like, we're just talking about this deck. I think this deck is a really fun one to play. I think the Hoshiko decks, as much as they are going to be a bit different now because DreamNet changed, are also really fun to play and really interesting. But like the Asa deck, just really good. No nonsense, really good, really clean. A lot of tempo forward lines, allows you to build a board state. It allows you to play the fun sort of Netrunner I think everyone appreciates. If you're a bit more tricksy, playing Shaper, and specifically playing the new Arasana is a lot of fun as well. This one's a bit more complicated if you like Shaper shenanigans. Otherwise, the Hoshiko lists without DreamNet are still pretty straightforward and require like good fundamentals. And they're really good at like signposting that you have like mini goals every turn. Like, oh, make sure you run to get a draw. Make sure you install a card to get a thing on your in thing. Like a lot of really, really good games. But like, there are very few decks in any top cut that I wouldn't recommend to play. Just watch out. There was 3 cards that were banned recently. This deck is clean, and all the HB decks should be clean, if I'm not mistaken. Let's do one more. I think this deck is actually like kind of interesting. It's a bit flimsy, but like I think the highs are high. The lows are like a bit of a struggle, let's be honest. But I think the interaction is kind of hard to deal with, as much as we played into a bit of tech. You can click trash MIC. Yeah, you can click trash MIC. You have to do it before they, yeah. You figured it out. 2 cards banned, 1 unbanned. Oh yeah, that's way more accurate. You're right. Lamb is unbanned. So far, not that we've had competitions, big competition in the new meta, we haven't seen Lamb pop off. I do think Lamb is probably the best in Freedom, and I probably think Lamb Freedom is pretty good. Vervampt. All right, Lou, 50. Great. Hey, best of luck. Have fun. I'm imagining this is also like the sort of solidarity chip, consume, imp nonsense. So we have to ice up centrals because our stuff will just get consumed and imped. This hand's not good. That hand's a bit better. Double Occat for centrals, advancing each other. Perfect harmony. R&D, HQ, credit. Next turn, we'll make a play with spin. Our opponent hasn't said hi. That hurts. Oh, they're just jamming stuff. Cool. They're playing at some speed. All right, I don't think we'll let him trash that. We actually might just want to do hedge fund and consume and extract this so we don't give him a good loot target. It's either we shuffle back this. I don't think we shuffle that back. I think we're just going to get rid of this thing. Yeah, we'll shuffle our deck. Good. We don't have a virus in the list, right? Like, we're kind of off meta in a lot of ways because we have to spend all our slots on our nonsense. But we have nonsense at least. That's like a cool thing. Oh, Acacia. Okay, we're pretty off the beaten path. Hannah's nice. You think what I'm thinking? I guess. It's 2 a.m. local, gonna get some shout out. Yo, Jai, shout out again for streaming the thing. We're gonna be talking about New Zealand ads after this. The thing is that you don't often run this because you think it's an NGO. Oh, sick. Oops, 2 core damage. Oops. Why is there Cerebral Overrider? Because we're comboing it down. We're using Clearinghouse at instant speed to put advances on that, and they've committed to access it. So now they're playing on 3 hand size, which means we hit them pretty good. This is the combo, right? So we need to get these 2 on the table. Rikoko, they will probably trash on site. We can't let that happen. But we need this to stick, and then we either need to draw Seamless or we need Angelique to fire on a different server. And that's a bit tricky here. So I think here we just click for credit. Our play next turn could be like put Reconstruction Contract on a naked server. The thing is, like, they really want to check naked servers because of all these reasons. Hey, Dead Star Killer, wondering, I bought the core set box back in 2012, 2013, and I was wondering, has the game changed much since then? Yes, it has. Back since 2012, it's definitely a different game. Sorry, just give me 1 second. The Aket, this access is pretty good for them. They're going to get some raindrops here, but we will res. It lets us to put an advancement on, unfortunately, something. Oh, it could have been itself. That's good to know. Yeah, so NSG, Null Signal Games, you can find their website, nullsignal.games, has been basically keeping this game up and are been doing a really, really great job since FFG lost the license back in 2018. Since then, there's been a new core set Learn to Play experience called System Gateway, and it's amazing. It's like very easily the best that it's ever been. And we had a new set that just came out a couple weeks ago. Game's a really, really good spot. Core rules are the same. Obviously, rotations change, so we're not playing with a lot of the cards from 2012, but some of the cards that are as old as 2012 are still currently seeing play. You might recognize none of these cards. I was hoping for a sure gamble at a minimum. Mind you, this card is really old. You've seen this in Creation Control, which came out in 2013, I want to say. This is Netrunner, looks fun, but skill intensive than MTG. It's more skill intensive than MTG. Waji, how's it going? The game is amazing, though. It's really, really good. It's kind of incredible. All right, I think we can do install advance with the clearinghouse and see what happens. If they don't run it, all right, spin goes back. We get rid of spin, and I think we want an overrider in the deck. We probably just need a bit more money. What makes the current meta so good? The corps have win conditions, so they don't feel powerless. They're not losing just to like value floods, which is really, really good. Oh, wow. This is going to fire. Every faction has interesting things they're doing. They're powerful cards. The builds are getting a bit more specific and interesting. Interaction is favored over most other stuff. Now this will do, if we top deck an Audacity, we will kill on this board state. Unfortunately, we don't know that because we have to fire this before start of turn. Okay. So if we advance this once more, we're in a pretty good spot. So the other options we can do new remote, credit. It's much more free than MTG. You can spend your actions on actions, including drawing cards. Yeah, that's a, which one is this? This is the Rikoko. That's a bummer. That's a really big thing, is that this game has an action economy. So like what you can do on any given turn is a net of like hundreds of possibilities, as opposed to, you know, in Magic where like you do the thing that you can on turn one, that's it. So it plays like a mixture of a card game and a board game. That's good. Strike fun, nice. Another big thing too, it's worth noting since 2012, if you've last played, is that the game is now totally legal to proxies. So they ran that in the right order. If they ran that in the other order, we would be able to get a flatline. But proxies are legal, so like you don't actually have to pay anything to play the game, which is sick. Did we have a line there? I don't think we had a line there. If they ran that in the other order, yeah, we'd be fine. Oh, why did I click for credit? I meant to advance this. I'm an absolute goon. Absolute goon. That wasn't correct. Advance, yeah, Jester, you assumed that we would do the play that wins the game. It's much more free. Yeah, proxies are legal. It's really, really good. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Goon with an extra credit. Tell me about it. I'm going to use that money to lose the centrals. Ooh, that's what you need there. Mind you, at any paid ability window, this is actually a really important thing, is that they keep steel skins in hand. As soon as we res Clearinghouse, they actually can fire a steel skin to Audrey and draw a card before our start a turn trigger. So if they're aware that they have the flexibility in paid ability windows, they actually can hose us pretty bad. Wasting time? Yeah, unfortunately, my time more than theirs, I think. All right, draw. Draw for an Audacity. Advance. Okay, steel skin count, 1. So again, they have windows to deal with the Clearinghouse if they can. Corpses win conditions, click credit. You're not wrong. Okay, so he can deal with only 1 ice. Oh, but this anvil doesn't do anything. Well, we've thrown the game in a really bad way. You have to pass priority between res and the trigger, yeah. When we res, they can respond to our reses, we can respond to their response, and then once everyone is sated, the window closes, then you go to start a turn triggers. Oh. They're not going through this? Weird. Great. We have absolutely ruined the bed. Unless here we res anvil, trash another card. So at instant speed, we can get a 2-coster. The 2-coster would be only a Formicary. That would be useless. We could also get a Regolith, but we have a Regolith in hand. This is bad. Pretend you're respecting Audrey and Steelskin. Yeah, we're respecting Steelskin. We want to debate the Steelskins out. This is no big deal. I got the game and enjoyed it with a friend and found out at the time that the only place I could play in the game locally was 2 hours and a train. Kind of lost interest. But your canned dance videos appeared in my recommended and wanted to see how much it changed. I dropped a live stream. Yo, you can definitely, like, the rules are entirely the same. Obviously the card pull is different, but that was like, you know, 11 years ago. Like, of course it is. But just keep that in mind that the game's in a really, really, really good spot. And if you want to get into the game, go to nullsignal.games and go pick up System Gateway, which is their Learn to Play. You can order it directly from their website, or you can do print and play. And print and play, you can play the game for free and just play with the new like Learn to Play stuff, and you'll see that the game is in a lot of ways in a better spot than it's ever been. All right, we are going to lose very slowly, and it was entirely our fault. Advancing the Cat more would be actually pretty nice. All right, they're doing their thing. They got Acacia. They're drawing cards for free. They have 3 hand size. That's pretty good. What is their flatline count? 1. It should have been 2, probably. I played this game really poorly. I got distracted by chat. Let's blame that. It's easier than anything else. They're only going for singles here. I'm worried what their multi-axis is. We haven't seen it at all. Why are they using a leech counter? Oh, they want to use Audrey. They want to save a credit on Cleaver. Yeah, that's fair. Extract. Nice. The game is missing Blue Sun and Max, so it's pretty bad spot, IMO. Man, like, I'm obviously... 2 cards on hand. I'm obviously a Blue Sun fan, but I think it's for the best, you know? I genuinely think we could advance this Suckhead. We'll do it slowly. We haven't seen a Hippo yet, so I don't want to like go too hard. Once we get a seamless in hand, like then the regolith is actually really interesting. As much as I think Urtica is out. No, Urtica is still in. Clearinghouse is out. And one Clearinghouse is out and one Cerebral is out. Hey, Izzy, how's it going? Shit. Good games on, this is another reason we didn't want to triple advance it. Actually, no, that would have been fine. Good games on Snake. So this gets trashed not this turn, but the following turn. So R&D is wide open here. Res and move form a carry? Yeah. Get out. They can't go through this. So it's either flatline or end the run. They chose end the run. Interesting. All right, it's gone. They're still not going to go through this. Mind you, Audrey only gets counters for when you trash the ice you're encountering. So ice destruction, installed ice destruction doesn't straight up work. Okay, we need an Audacity here to be in an okay spot. They have one card in hand. If we had an Audacity, we would have won here. This game is getting worse. Not NSG, but yes, this game is getting worse for us. If we had an Audacity, we would have won here. Unless they have a Steel Skin in hand, which like totally a way they can get out of it. Let's draw for an ice. Okay, this is bad. Could we extract something of value? I think we can extract the Anvil to get an Afshar on HQ. That's probably an okay spot to be. Great. I love you complain about Crims not having guns. Hoshiko just doesn't seem very anarch. I love to run my deck and max, rip my punk rock bay. Stop it. My eyes. We're doing fine. We're doing okay. We're going to be okay. All right. We have a board state. Definitely one of the board states. Anything we put out there, they like, you know, trash and go forward. I'm not that worried about it. But our board state's pretty bad. No way around it. No way around that problem. I think we will just like keep them busy. Like their economy isn't amazing. Trash this. It's clickless. Cost 2 credits to get a card. It's not great. But like what else are we doing with this hand? Install Advance Advance? Maybe actually. Time to pivot into shell game? For real, yeah. This is really ugly. We mismanaged our mid game and now we're at the late game, which like generally that's gonna be a problem. Andre, do you think there's a chance for a future NSG produced gameplay client? Like a place to play the game? 100% I would bet against it. We have one. It's called JNet. It's right here. It's great. Okay. I wasn't expecting that. I don't think it's particularly good on this board state. I think people are like pretty okay at doing subpar diversions. This is a subpar diversion. This is a lot of, like, our credit total is fine. Their credit total, like, they spend a fair bit of resources to gain 4 credits. 3 credits, mind you, because they lost one to this, got one. Like, yeah, people do love diversion. Yeah, we're keeping them busy in so many ways. This is literally keeping them busy. Half their turn to do this. Yeah, sign me up. Why would you ever want NSG produce software? Yeah, I don't know why. Like, JNet's great. You don't need anything better than JNet. I would be way more scared if they went for an Axis there, let's be honest. Feel like the meta ice is pretty weak and the way Corpse to play around is to play more ice. Yes, we're playing fair few to ice. I don't think Chitzel is like particularly popular. I don't think the ice is weak. I think the ice is really interesting. I think the ice has a lot more like temporal nature to like when you res it's more interesting. Early game versus late game, understanding like, oh, ablative is a thing. So like face checking, like not everything's snap res. I think that's obviously sick. This is bad. JNet mobile app would be nice. You can technically play JNet on mobile, on your phone. This is not good. I just don't know if they have any multi-access, but this is bad. This is quite bad. We don't have a way out from here. We have all our Rococo still in the deck though, but we've ground through so much of our value. Our density on R&D is like pretty messed up. Let's draw once. Okay, that's how we win. I think we're gonna ice up R&D here. I just don't think we actually build a remote server no more. We can just gain money. Yeah, that's fine. It works fine. Triple Advance Hordem? Yeah, maybe. Triple Advance Hordem would be interesting. They probably have like a decoder somewhere in the 20 cards. It's worth something for sure. I don't think they're on Hippo if they're on Chisel though. So maybe that's fine. Knob, nice. No, Archives actually is like pretty good. So we need them to end on one card in hand. Why did that happen? Wait, why did that happen? Hey, sorry, what? Sorry. Sorry. Not sure why that happened. Oh, Ice Carver. Ice Carver. Got it. Thank you. Yeah, Ice Carver. Because that interaction doesn't work like that. Yeah, Ice Carver does make it work. Okay, now we're going to get slammed on HQ. Thank you, Disgruntled. We are slowly getting pulled apart in like the very, very, very slow way. The way that raindrops do truly cut stone. Wait, how do we Audacity this hand? Uh-oh. People are really cursing outside. Give me 1 second. I think someone drove onto a construction site. The workers are not happy about it. Oh, wait, 4 points? Yeah. If they're on 4 points, otherwise we can consider jamming this. They don't have a lot of cards. The thing is, like, they have a 4-card hand size because of Solidarity Badge. So it's not going to be great for us. So they can always just, like, draw up heavily into this. We need a Spin Doctor really, really bad. This is quite bad for us. Acacia, I don't get this card. I don't think we ever purge out, really. Okay. So we do install Advance. Again, they need a lot to get into this. We have too many cards in hand to Audacity out. So if anything, we need them to collide with the last Correa. So we can draw up. The more we draw, though, the more we flood up. That seems pretty good, though. So we'll just do HQ, get hedge fund, and hopefully, like, they have to make a mistake. They did go down to one hand size on one single turn, so they know we're on IZF. So they probably won't make that mistake again, especially if we're not doing anything proactive. But yeah, this is painful. Robbing us of French cursing. Buffer drive. Nice. All right, huge. Huge. Okay, so we have border control into Anemone. So there are lines that we have from this point forward. So it's still really hard to do a Steelworks project because they can clicklessly draw. We haven't seen a Steelskin Scarring, and they're probably going to hold them in hand if they're clever to be able to clicklessly draw whenever they want with Audrey, which is a very hard interaction to beat. So we probably have to do that. And then here we can discard. I think we draw once and discard 2 cards. Nice, that's a good draw. So our line here is basically make them run to border control, use border control to hit Anemone, and then if they end on 2 low cards in hand, we can maybe fast advance from this point. That's the best we have. It's not great, but it'll do. No simulchip, no tricks. It's hard to parse their board state, so much hardware. This wasn't a Hannah run. I guess that makes sense. It's an Anemone. We'll put it on server 10. Trash. We hit a Buzzsaw and an Audrey. So that is their decoder. Good to know. Literal City Works says out of Andre's house. So now they're on 2 cards. If they want to run back again, like this is technically only virus counters. Like this is a really cool combination of Leech and Audrey. Maybe there is some interest to purge here. I think you need to save that for the last click run. Yeah, but they never run the remote last click, right? Like, if anything, we overinstall this and get this back into our deck. But, like, there's no world in which they run last click. I think actually maybe we do purge. All right, things we need to get back. So I think we need Correa back. And I think we'll leave 2 points in archives. It's like, whatever. Like, there's no way they run that ever last click, especially with Hannah. I don't know why they didn't Hannah that run. Yeah, just keeping cards in hand. Maybe we actually should have kept it for CityWorks project. Actually, that's more important, but they can let us have a CityWorks project. That's a big issue. No, we have no more virus in the list. Unfortunately, no more virus. All right. Server 10, save a credit, push, credit. If they produce an imp, they can beat CityWorks project. That is another big thing. Actually, does CityWorks imp work? I don't know why they're not handing this. So now we have to get this back in. So we have that at least. And we have to get Anemone back in. And they just wait. It's a Whoredom. This is good that they flesh out. A lot of players don't flesh out spin doctors or run archives before they run centrals, and it's usually wrong because there's often like 5 points in archives. City triggers first, okay. Strike Fund. Nice. 1 card. 2 virus counters. We could triple advance this. I am worried about the Devil Charm Chisel interaction though. Form and carry is surprisingly annoying. I wonder actually if virus is worth a slot just because it can also be a net damage as much as that it's kind of oft forgotten. Single axis, they produce no multi-axis. They can win though. So easy. We have, yeah, there you go. Good game. That was rough. We misplayed that really bad. We should have quad advanced. Thanks, you too. We should have quad advanced the thing way sooner. If we did, they probably would have ran it at that point. But yeah, that was really, really ugly. We did not draw a single reconstruction contract or a way to produce a reconstruction contract in a way that matters. So our deck didn't do the thing that I wanted to do. So like that feels bad. But yeah, I think this deck needs tuning. I do think the thing that it does is inherently pretty unfair. And it's going to catch a lot of runners by surprise. And then when it is up, a lot of runners can't deal with it. So maybe the question is like, is the ice needs to be better? Like, is Anvil doing enough for us? Do we have enough economy in the list? There's a lot of things I think you need to answer for this list. But I think this list is actually kind of cool. So we'll look at it. Let's just do some news real quick. We might revisit it because... You ready to talk about something? Okay, we need to talk about this. Where is it? Okay, so this weekend was New Zealand Nationals. Shout out to NB Kelly, who NB Kelly ran New Zealand Nationals, and it was an online event. There was about 34 players, a couple dropped, 8 dropped, so actually 37 players, and at the end down to about 30 players. And then there was a top 4 cut, and they played it out. And it was streamed. It was actually streamed by Jai, who streamed it on Jai's channel. Unfortunately, Jai, the VOD isn't saved. Jai is pretty new to streaming, did a great job, streamed for like the 7 to 8 hours. This was last Friday night for my part of the world. And it was a great event. It was really well done. Jai casted the whole thing alone, which is like pretty, you know, that's a lot of effort. But yeah, I want to talk about this because I think this is absolutely so messed up. The event, firstly, congrats to all the players who made the top 8. I said top 4. It should be top 8. Jia taking it, and Jia did really well in Swiss, first in like the top of the standings. It's amazing. Recent broadcast not working. No, it's up to you to save your VODs. And then if you're not a partner or affiliate, it only saves VODs for a month. So there's just no VODs of it. So you cannot watch it, unfortunately. So while Jai might be doing other streaming in the future, go ahead and follow Jai there. You just cannot watch it. It just doesn't exist anywhere, which is unfortunate. But I want to talk about this for a second because this event was ran in double-sided Swiss. It was, again, 36 players. So it was meant to be 4 rounds of double-sided Swiss, which is 8 games and then a top cut to the top 8. I did Can Nats, and there's been a lot of support this year for single-sided Swiss. So single-sided Swiss... Okay, double-sided Swiss is like the old Netrunner way of playing tournaments. And it's the thing that you're probably the most familiar with if you played the game for the last, 10, 11 years, where you get sat against from your opponent, you randomize who plays first, you have 65 minutes to play runner, and then you swap over to the corp. So that means at the end of the round, you can either have a sweep, which means you won both games. That's worth 6 points. You can split, which means you each get 3 points, or you can be swept. You can lose both games and have 0 points. Mind you, each win is worth 3 points. So the most you can get 6, the least you can get is 0 in any matchup between another person. Now, there are some additional things where if you go to time or if you hit a draw, that is actually worth 1 point. So there are some outcomes where a player can get 4 points. Heaven forbid both players get 1 point, but you can get 4-1. That is one of the options. But most often than not, you're getting 0, 3, 6. Cool. Now, I think this has been the absolute worst showing of why I do not like double-sided Swiss. And it looked like it absolutely fell apart at this tournament. This is not an attack, mind you. We're going to look at players' names here. Firstly, I don't have pronouns listed here. So if I ever say player, I'm going to try and use they as a general term because I don't know the player's pronouns. They're not listed here. Apologies for that. And also, when we're going to looking at player names here, I feel like we're not trying to call out anyone. Like we're going to be talking about 2-for-1s and IDs and stuff like that. And obviously, if we could, I guess sanitize this, but the point is like, we're not talking about like, oh, this player 2-for-1, how could they? That is not the point of this. So like, I'm not criticizing any of the players here. I'm trying to criticize the structure of the tournament. I think double-sided Swiss is so fundamentally flawed that I do not understand why tournaments are being run like this anymore. And we can show this. I think it's very obvious how messed up this thing is. Okay, check this out. Round 1, we have 19 tables, 1 bye, everybody plays everyone. As soon as we hit turn 2, you notice that you start seeing some weird artifacts here. And that is this question is, what is 2-for-1? So 2-for-1 is something that you're allowed to do within the tournament structure of double-sided Swiss, in which before the game starts, you have to call a judge over and the judge asks, you basically say, I would like to 2-for-1. Your opponent also has to say, I would like to 2-for-1. And then the judge there randomly determines what side of the table each player is going to play. As the name says, 2-for-1 means that you flip a coin. It says player left, so say Augustus is playing Corp, then they play 1 game. So Augustus versus the other player, why did you leave the keys upon the table? Play 1 game, and whoever wins that gets 6 points. They do not play 2 games. And you'll notice, almost all the players here are players who lost their first round. They got swept in their first round. And they understand, because of the tournament structure here, the outcomes in any individual match being 0-6, bad for them, 3-3, also really bad for them, because if they go 3-3 here, they have literally no chance of making the top cut. So they're heavily incentivized as soon as round 2 to immediately 2-for-1 their opponent, which they did. And that's smart. But this is the problem with double-sided Swiss, is that there's a huge incentive to 2-for-1 as soon as round 2. So we're starting to see a lot of players 2-for-1 immediately. And it gets worse. Round 3, more than half the tables are 2-for-1ing. Why does double-sided Swiss exist when half the tables are 2-for-1ing? We also have something at the top called IDing. IDing is another ugly artifact of a double-sided Swiss. It does still happen at single-sided Swiss, but in short, both players call over a judge, and in front of a judge, they agree to not play the game so they can both get 3 points each. And that is the safest thing to do, obviously, because no player wants to get a 0-point score, get 0-6, get swept, because if they get 0 points here, there's a chance they won't make the top cut. But because these 2 players were doing really well right now, and these 2 players did amazingly well in the tournament, they'd agree to ID, which is the safest way to assure both of them will continue to be in the top cut. It's worth knowing, when it comes to the comparison of single-sided Swiss, IDing is still a real thing, but it happens way less often. But now we're at the point that the event structure doesn't make any sense unless half the table 2-for-1. Because if any of these players split and go 3-3, they're basically out of the top cut. And it's not only the top cut, mind you, a lot of players will also 2-for-1 and ID in later rounds to be able to make certain break points, to be able to get prize support. Because certain prize support is gated at being like the top 16. So players understand, if I don't 2-for-1 now, I'm not going to make the top 16. But we're clearly at a point here where more than half of the tournament is going out of their way to go around the tournament structure. This is so fundamentally broken that I don't understand. And again, single-sided Swiss has its drawbacks. It's not a perfect format, but this doesn't happen because players are forced to play every single game. This is so ugly. And it even gets worse. Round 4. This one is also improperly reported. This table also 2-for-1. 75% of the tables are 2-for-1ing. And that's correct. That is the right thing to do in this format. It makes no sense. This is hideous. So check this out. If we want to look at the final standings, oh man, this is so rough. If we want to look at the final standings, out of these 8 players, okay, let's look at this number. There was 30 players that finished, right? If we look here at the rounds, in round 4, there was, 15 tables, so there's 30 players that finished. If I was going to tell you that this event was meant to be 4 rounds, so everyone has to play 8 games, how many players out of the 30 that finished the day, how many players do you think actually played 8 games? I would like to hear your estimate because I have the numbers and there's some more ridiculous numbers we can show in a second. There's some really, really ridiculous numbers to continue showing. Let me just catch them on chat. Best way to play is not play. Exactly. The best way to play is just 2 for 1. Always be 2 for 1ing. Particularly also if you don't find yourself to be a competitive player because the variance will carry you. Because the less games you play, more likely that it is you'll stumble into the top cut, which I'm not saying that players here stumble into the top cut, but like, yeah, build your own single-sided Swiss, but it's even worse. Because this is my least favorite thing about 2 for 1ing is that the side pair is random here. I think a lot of people hear about single-sided Swiss and they think like, oh, but if I just play more Corp than Runner and Corp is favored, that'll be really bad. And then like I can lose the tournament because I played more Corp than Runner. And the thing is like in single-sided Swiss, you're always paired with priority to make sure you play as the even amount of sides. Currently in Netrunner, right now, it seems like Corps are up a bit on win rate, whether it's 55%, 60%, that's, you know, the numbers will say. But it's worth knowing that every single one of these 2 for 1 pairs is random which side you're going to play. So if you 2 for 1 round 2, 3, and 4, which a bunch of players did, and you get Corp, and Corp has a 60% win rate as opposed to 40% win rate, your win rate on the tournament drastically goes up because you won coin flips. And that's something single-sided Swiss doesn't do. This is absurd. It is so absurd that a lot of players are just like, you know, coin flipping their way up the charts. It's, yeah, I think Worlds has confirmed double-sided Swiss. This is made worse by the round count. 4 rounds seems short for this many players. 4 rounds is maybe arguably a bit short for this amount of players. And that does exacerbate the need for 2 for 1s. That's for sure. I think a longer tournament kind of evens it out where like, but still this is just inherently part of the format. And while you might be saying, I played Netrunner 5-6 years ago and this didn't happen, it's because it wasn't formalized by the rules and people are getting wiser to realize this is the optimal way to play. I feel like when I started 2 years ago, people didn't 2 for 1 half of that. That's exactly it. It's now formalized and now people understand that it's like, it is embraced, like it's kind of expected. Again, out of this event, I don't know what the number is, but like out of, you can look at the games and almost 50% of all games were either an ID or 2 for 1. You're expected to go to an event and 2 for 1 or ID. It's unlikely that you do not. This would be actually fine because it's functionally opt-in SSS. It's not functionally opt-in SSS, Kyle, because it is biased on random sides. So it is technically close to SSS, but it's the worst of SSS, where it's SSS with side randomness. And if sides aren't random, it's worse than SSS. And in SSS, you play more games. Like you actually go, like if this was SSS and it was 8 rounds, almost every single player would play about 7 rounds. Worst case. Without tiebreaker rounds, it's worse because people don't want to have to rely on SSS to make the cut. Yeah. People didn't do 2 for 1s before because they were done in secret. Yes. And it's good that they formalized it. Like, I'm not angry that they formalized 2 for 1s. I'm not angry in general. But like classically 2 for 1s did exist secretly in Netrunner. It was just done between friends and play groups that would like hush hush underneath the table. And it's great that NSG has formalized that. So players who show up alone to tournaments without testing partners can get away with advantages of strategically IDing and 2 for 1ing. So great. 1, 0, I'll guess 2. It's 2. It's 2. There's only 2 players at this event that actually played every single round. Out of 30 players, 2. Like, it's so messed up. It's so messed up. There could be a ruling structure applied that restricts when and why 2 for 1s or IDs could be chosen. I think that's probably a fantasy, Paul. It's really hard to enforce that, let alone like, and then if you, that's the problem too, is like it being enforced that people will just under the table 2 for 1 or ID. Like it is just fundamentally a problem of having 0 points, which helps you no ways, 3 points being as bad as 0 points, and then 6 points being the only outcome. It's so bad. See the follow-up comment? Sorry, Kyle. The real issue is DSS 2 for 1 doesn't bounce sides. Thank you, Kyle. Save. Though SSS with 8 rounds would be noticeably longer tournament day, sadly. Yes, it is. It technically is. It is a longer day. There is downsides to it. Of course there's downsides to it. But maybe you can just do SSS 6 rounds, 7 rounds. I don't know. Because inherently, even if you did SSS 6 rounds, the majority of players are still playing more Netrunner. Sengrin's gonna love hearing this. I copy pasted this window and I sent it to you, Sengrin, after on like Saturday morning. I was like, what's going on? And like, yeah, he knows. This is not like a surprise. I don't think OP loves this. This is really ugly. This is super, super ugly. Codifying also prevents people agreeing to 2 for 1 and backing out if they lose. No, it's really good. It's codified. That's not the problem. The problem is that it is inherently double-sided Swiss is a problem. I traveled to tourneys in the olden time to play games. Yeah, Oathwood. How's it going? I really hope enough stink is raised next to your world as yes, and this is what I'm doing. I want to put up so much stink. I think DSS, to me, I will never run a tournament in DSS again. It is so fundamentally bad. The use case for DSS there's only a very, very narrow use case for me for double-sided Swiss anymore, which is a super casual event in which people have no incentive to ID or 2-for-1, and specifically you have an even amount of players. Because as soon as people don't care to ID in 2-for-1, it's easier on tournament organizers, it's easier for time. And only if you have an even amount of players, because as soon as you have an odd amount of players, now the person who has a buy only has a buy for 40 minutes as opposed to an hour 10, which like, great. The use cases of DSS are so limited to me. It's so absurd. Yeah, it is though very hard to run Worlds at SSS because there's a lot of rounds. The Eternal Tourney was no ID 2-for-1 and it was much more fun, and I would recommend small tourneys doing this, but it's not enforceable. It's just not enforceable. Single-sided definitely preferable. Feels like the key is setting the process for recording and paring down really slick and not putting too much extra pressure on TOs. Yeah, and like Aesop Stables does most of that. People can report online. It's easy, but it's also, there's just a lot more dead time spent between rounds. Okay, so check this out. Shout out to Wiki and Giat, who I'm not mistaken, 21 means they dropped one game. That was the one game they ID'd against each other. So they largely, I think there was maybe some 2-for-1ing, we can check. But out of these top 8 players, no player played more than 8 games. 7 games was common. 6 games was super common. Even 5 games, I think. But this is the wildest thing to me, is these 2 players, and again, I'm not shouting these out, like this is not to, I'm saying names here, and it's not at all to call out these exact players, because I agree, I would do what these players did. What they did is totally fine. But Smug Blue Dragon and End the Run had 18 points. They both got swept on round 1, and they did 2-for-1, 2-for-1, 2-for-1. So at this Nationals, they only played 5 games of Netrunner. And after being swept round 1, they won every single game. They did literally the best they could do, and that was only possible, well, not only possible, but largely safely only possible because everyone agreed to 2-for-1 them, because everyone has a good incentive to 2-for-1. And still, they didn't make the cut because they got 2.4375, 2.4375. They have the same strength of schedule of Agasha here in 8th place, but they lost out on extended strength of schedule, which like, I don't know exactly what we're meant to get out of that, but both of these players only played 5 games of Netrunner. They lost round 1, did the best they could possibly do, and still had no chance to make the top cut. And that actually, to some extent, is a correlation off the basis that a lot of people are also 2-for-1ing. Because the more people that actually play the games and tie, and they get 3-3 and knock themselves lower, means that we don't have these hyper-inflated scores. Because these hyper-inflated scores only exist largely because every win is now worth 6 points instead of 3 points. So these players that, like, you know, played as little Netrunner as they possibly could, but went undefeated besides round 1, had no chance mathematically making the top cut. And that is, I'm not saying that's inherently something that's broken. It's just fascinating. They, again, won every single game they could, but because all of these numbers, every win is worth 6 points, it's so hard to make it there. They had no chance after round 1, and they didn't know that. And obviously the outcomes of different games will affect that. But now that people are IDing and 2-for-1ing so aggressively, top cut math is really, really difficult. It's super, super cutthroat. But these 2 players both played only 5 games and almost made the top cut. Yeah, everything's super polarized with 2-for-1s. It's so messed up. I do not understand how this is not an absolute farce. And again, this was also 2-for-1. Everyone's doing it. And again, why are people at the lower tables doing it that have like mathematically no chance of making the top cut is because prize support is also gated besides other scores. So like these 2 players understand here, if they don't 2-for-1, they're not going to go home with like some nice Angolos or whatever the prize support of that bracket was. So like it makes sense that they do it. You also sometimes see IDs at this bracket. And then on top of the really polarized 2-for-1ing is like looking at stats is so difficult. Because you lose 2-for-1s, you just lost 12 points. Even though you lost 12 points, even lost 2 games in Netrunner. So you look at stats, and if you want to like collate ELO or any sort of like intelligent Netrunner ranking, which like there's not a huge incentive to do that, you like kind of can't do it because each game is worth 6 points. Like, this is rough. This is really, really rough. I think this is like probably the worst example of this. And like, I do not want this to like, huge shout out to NB Kelly for running a fantastic event. All the people coming out, all the streamers, like this is nothing to paint like this event with any sort of like negative brush. Like, I just want to shout out, like fundamentally DSS is busted and people understand it. Clearly people understand it because they're figuring out how to use it in their benefit, and it's just totally falling apart. I am a bit worried that we're going to see exact results like this at Worlds. I think with more rounds, it's a bit more difficult, but in more rounds, you're going to see people 2-for-1ing round 2. At Worlds, you're going to see people 2-for-1ing round 2. And even for that, while prize support might continue to make people to carry on, if people are 2-for-1ing round 2 and then they lose, like if they're not playing for prize support, we now have also a system that is encouraging people to drop, right? Like, I'm not sure why we had 8 drops. There's a lot of reasons why you want to drop a tournament. But if you lose round 1 and you 2-for-1 round 2 and you drop and you're trying to make, you know, do well, I wouldn't say you might as well drop, because Netrunner is a fun game to play and there's prize support at different levels. But like, yeah, you can't make the top cut. It's that bad. Would you want Worlds to be SSS? In a heartbeat. But that's because I'm not organizing Worlds, and I understand the amount of headache it will be to be like, we have to have 14 separate single rounds or whatever it comes down to require people to like move and like sit down and make sure we don't have to do a repair. Like, it does not scale well with high numbers, but 100%, like specifically for competitive events, single-sided Swiss makes so much sense. But I do think you have to be a bit aggressive on how many rounds it needs to be. Like, we ran Cannats, and 10 rounds for 40 players is way too many. And I think that's largely agreed, and I think it's going to be addressed in the rules. Online tournaments have more drops. Oh, that's very true. Online tournaments have way more drops because you're like, F it, I'm at home. It's a Friday night, it's Saturday morning. Like, whatever. I took a punt. It didn't work out. It's fine. Is it difficulty in SSS a software issue? No, Flip. Aesop's Tables is, the software that Sengren has put together. You can use it. We ran Cannats on it. There might be some bugs. It's only as of this year. If you have any feedback, hit up Jeff. I know Jeff is going to be working to continue to upgrade the website. He's been pretty conducive to feedback, but like, folks are using this and it's great. It is really good. Technically correct number of rounds. Yeah, whatever, Kyle. The only thing I've learned from this is people care way too much about fancy alt arts and a bit of Netrunner fame. People have good reasons to want to win a nationals, and I think like if the point of the comment was to make people feel silly for that, I'm not for that. I get it. Especially when you go to Worlds, right? Like, you want to win Worlds, you want to hit the top cut, you want to get those fancy prizes. Netrunner is like people are not playing for money. People are playing for, the joy of the game, the whatever pride, if that's a healthy thing, and like, get a nice playmat. Like, it's cool. It's cool. It's the best. Have there been approaches to SSS that have tried to address the scaling issue? I don't know what you can do. Like, in SSS, you're hugely incentivized to always run even amount of rounds to make sure side bias doesn't get out of whack. But it's just understanding how many rounds you need for each player base. I think you might see more granular grading to be like, between 33 and 42, you should have 6 rounds, but between 42 and 53, you can have this many rounds. Like, I think that might exist. But it's a maths issue generally, like trying to prove how many rounds you need to get a good cut. And we also don't have tiebreaker rounds anymore. That has some incentive of people 2-for-1ing more aggressively. Tiebreaker rounds were recently removed, and I think that's another thing that helps speed up organization. But like, this is a farce. This is farcical. Graduated cut for large events seems to be the scaling solution. Yes, that's the thing that FFG did. I'm not sure if this happened at Worlds last year because I kind of forget. But I really like the idea that like after day one, people are reduced down to like a smaller amount. And then there's like 2 more rounds where now we're playing 2 rounds with only 60 players down from 200. And then from the 60, we go to the top 16. Like, again, in single-sided Swiss, that makes sense because classically on day 2 rounds in FFG World, like it was just 2-for-1 city. Because like you can't go 3-1, you had to go 4-0. So I do think graduated cuts are another nice way to do it if you're having a multi-day event. We almost did a graduated cut at Cannats and it made sense. A 2-for-1 at events where I'd had every single alt art for grabs? Yeah. Does SSS mean you only play one side per opponent? Yeah, yes, technically. Like, whatever your round is, it'll be like, okay, Wiki's going to play against Correa, and it'll sign that says Wiki, she's going to be playing Corp. And so then Wiki and Correa play. Now, that doesn't mean that these 2 players can't match up against each other later in the event, but they will be forced to play the other side if the algorithm gets that to happen, which it can, and it usually does, especially against the top tables where there's only so many players with a similar score. So it does happen. Like, there's a chance at most SSS events I played at, I ended up playing against at least one person twice. So that works out, but you have 40 minutes and you only play one side. But yes, it does not enforce that you will never replay the same person. Just if you do, you will always play the other side. It won't allow you to play the same person twice, the same side twice. Even without prizes, part of the fun of a tournament is playing against people who are actually trying to win. Yeah. I'm proud that in my time of playing Netrunner, I only ever 2-for-1 once. I didn't want to do it. I was there regardless of how I ended up. You think, Sean, like, this is the thing that I want to avoid. Like, I don't think there should be any pride in not 2-for-1ing. Because, like, I don't think any of these players shouldn't have 2-for-1. They should have 2-for-1. Like, they shouldn't be embarrassed about 2-for-1ing. They're doing the right thing. So, like, if the messaging is, I'm proud that I haven't 2-for-1, I find that to be potentially risky. Because, no, IDing and 2-for-1ing is the correct play, and nobody should feel ashamed about that. If you think it's like your own achievement to not do it for some reason, okay, that's fine. But technically, yeah, I don't think it's correct. I've never played that way. Yeah, Oathwood. SSS is like a relatively new thing. It was only like officially folded into the NSG organized play rules this year. earlier this summer. Large part Asynchronous SC. He streams, he does content, check his stuff out. It's great. He's been a big proponent of it, and currently he is the interim organized play manager. So there's been an internal push. He's been like fighting for SSS for a long time, and I think the community has actually been pretty slow to. At first, people were like, I don't know, the sanctity of Netrunner is about playing the asymmetrical, and yeah. Pride is playing unoptimally. Pride is playing unoptimally. I didn't know 2-for-1 was an option until today. It is, and very important. If you want to ID or 2-for-1, call a judge over. You cannot do this without the consent of a judge, especially for 2-for-1ing, because the judge randomizes the sides for you. But yeah, check that out. It's very important. I wonder why the logistics offset is switching to SSS, given that TOs don't have to spend time officiating 2-for-1's IDs. Yeah, there are some upsides to it. It's like kind of interesting that there's less of that. Mind you, people do ID in single-sided Swiss. It's just like a much smaller portion of people who are capable of doing it, and they don't do it as often. Because then they like it's only a 40-minute break to play Radlands or whatever. Netrunner is literally a game about playing aggressively to the lines that give you the statistical win. Obviously, players are going to do this. Yeah. I should have 2-for-1 at Worlds if I wanted to try for Cup, but that was a pipe dream and I optimized for prizing. Yeah. Sorry for being a noob. What does IDing mean? No, Oathwood. No, don't apologize for asking questions. IDing means it's like the opposite of 2-for-1. It's called an intentional draw. And you call a judge over, and you do this just so that it's obvious to the organized play folks that nobody is like coercing someone to do this, where you say like, hello, judge, now that you're here, I would like to propose to my opponent intentional draw. And then your opponent says, I too would like to propose intentional draw. The judge says, cool, you shake hands. I think that's part of the rules. And then you write down on the match slip that IDs happened. That means that you don't play the game and you each win one game. So that means that's the safe option to stay on top, because no one's getting swept. So every round they're getting at least 3 points, which generally means the people in first place stay around first place. It is the safer option, because if Wiki got swept by Correa, there's a chance Wiki won't make the cut. And same for Correa. So they have no incentive to knock each other out. That also will happen sometimes. I think sometimes you see unoptimal IDs when people play against metamates or testing teams, where you'll see lines. Like I think a couple players ID'd in ways that they were almost not safe to do it, but they'll play against somebody that they don't want to play them because they're in the same testing group, and they'll be like, I'll ID against you and then hope the math works out, which like, yeah, that's fine too. You can do that. Would SSS basically be the same as MTG structure as they have Worlds? I have no idea how Magic works, so I'm not sure, Pink. ID is a strict loss of points in SSH, which is good. Yes, it is much more risky. You can't do it more than twice and feel good about it. My own achievement, because ultimately didn't care about winning, nor did I ever think I could. And the issue for me with tournaments was playing folks for whom the competitiveness is better than all. Understood. Yeah, cool. There are more ways to play that didn't privilege a kind of competitive tournament play that I'd be eager to get back into it. There's lots, Sean. There's just like a lot of like this is a nationals, right? Like you're expecting, it is a competitive tier event in terms of like judge ruling, but there's a lot of casual organized play, just about anywhere you look, which is great. SSS taking an ID is usually much more having a well-earned break. Yeah, it is harder to lock one of those in. SSS might have more sense, but DSS doesn't have to make this the optimal outcome. I think fundamentally, the fact that the scores go 6-0, it is impossible to fix this. It is impossible, because the only way to fix this is saying you're not allowed to do it, which means people will still do it, just not the people playing fair will be able to do it, which means you've only fixed the system for people that like you just bias the room really heavily. So it's just like inherently, because the scores have these 3 options, not counting the tie option, like this will always exist. Like, I don't want to say it's impossible to fix, but it's probably impossible to fix unless you like restructure the entire scoring system. Like it's really, really hard to fix. You can change the incentive scheme. Like, yeah, you have to do a lot. Like you have to change these numbers. Everyone makes top cut in every tournament. Swiss is just for positioning. Easy. How many rounds is double elimination with that many players? I guess it doesn't scale that poorly. Yeah. And it's worth knowing, like, there are some cool incentives, like not IDing at the top gives you an ability to have a higher rank going into the top cut. So you have optimal choicing of your matchup. Like there are some incentives that don't entirely encourage you to ID at the top, but you still do. Dear for NAOP. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I wanted to talk about this because like this is an absolute farce. Like I don't understand how double-sided Swiss is existing as like the competitive way to organize Netrunner play, because I think World is going to be like this. I would be surprised if it isn't. TOs Team tournaments. I don't think people will 2-for-1 at Crown of Servers. I think that's a good thing. A global ELO system that affects future tournaments, prize support that's granular to every level, and some top cuts laws that allocate a random weight basis. I think you can have ELO though with 2-for-1s. And I don't know if a lot of people would like ELO. As long as ELO exists, like then smurfing is a bigger issue. There was a lot of smurfing at this event. I don't think it's really worth talking about. Like people are going to do it if they really want to and they have incentives to do it. They don't feel comfortable. There's a lot of reasons why. I wish it wasn't that way, but yeah, it's a thing. 200 player double elimination is only 8 rounds. Let's go. Yo, speaking about OP, this is a good, really good transition. Recruitment drive. This opened today. I think there's another Null Signal podcast that came out last night. I haven't heard it yet. I think Mars on it, which is sick. Smurfing? Yeah, smurfing. It's when people like sign up for a tournament, you know, with an alternate handle, so you don't know who they are. It's a thing you can do. Isn't the solution to all this is to solve problems with SSS? Yeah, I think so. I think it's just do SSS. That has its own drawbacks, but yeah, SSS is the way to fix it, I think. Like we have a solution. It's not painless, but it's the better way to run an event. Remind me, did Nationals award world invites for top 2? Just the top winner, Frisbee. The winner, how's it going by the way, Frisbee? The winner gets a ticket for free to either Worlds this year and, I didn't realize, or Worlds next year if you can't make it. There's 2 CBI invites depending on the size of the event or if they got the boosted prize support, but it's only one Nationals, one Worlds invite. Okay, recruitment drive. This is so important. If you might not know, Null Signal Games kind of been doing great Netrunner stuff. It's the reason why we're all here, huh? They're doing some recruitment stuff, and Null Signal Games is all volunteers. That's important to know, but there's a whole bunch of roles they're looking for. It's a lot of roles they're looking for, all the way from executive roles, so like VP of engagement, VP of staff support. Yeah, that's really cool. And then, you know, organized play, team members, play managers, all the sort of stuff that we're like, you know, talking about right now. There's ways to get involved to like, you know, this is, you know, I set you up with my, you know, specific agenda, and then you go apply. You know what to do. We've talked. There's a lot of roles here. EDI team has a lot of slots. Even just like, I think testing shows up somewhere in here. I click through these. If this is vice president of product, mind you, the president of product, the vice president of product is right now in chat. Say hi to Kevin. Recruitment, that's really cool. Translation, nice. Team members, web dev, general applications, playtesters aren't here. I just want to say real quick, obviously volunteer stuff. If you think like, I'd be interested in doing marketing, but I don't know if I'm qualified, just apply. Because even if you send in your CV and then it's read and, you know, the NSG people think like, this is probably not the best slot for this role, but they understand that you are willing to go out of the way to help. They'll have you on file and they can offer you, be like, hey, we have another role that we'd be excited to work with you with and to make this beautiful thing we all care about. So even if you don't think you're a perfect candidate for any of these roles, I highly recommend applying. That's awesome. Is it quite the overhaul of staff? I don't think it's an overhaul. I think it's an expansion. I think there's just more people on NSG than there ever was. GSL pools plus giant double limb bracket. Let's go. What's GSL, Kyle? SSS is much smoother as compared to reworking the entire reward system, but you can't give up this asymmetric DSS match, then you can't resist it. If you can't give it up, yeah. And I think there's some people, you know, it's so core to them that in Netrunner you play both sides against some person. You get to see both sides of their deck. There's a bit of a narrative to that. And yeah, I get it. I do think there's a lot of strengths of SSS, and we probably won't be talking more about it because we've been talking about it for a while, but like I've talked about it on stream before. I like SSS for some reason. Hi, apply. I need the help. There's Kevin. Kevin's great. One day I'll have enough free time to volunteer for NSG. Yo, Yeti, how's it going? I think that's also another big thing that's worth shouting out is like, you might not have the amount of time you think you need to like be a convention coordinator. That seems like a pretty big role. Let's be honest. But even if you want to get involved and be like, hey, this is something I'm interested in, but right now I don't have that X time to like, you know, to commit to this, but maybe I would have 2 hours every like 2 weeks. That is something that I think NSG would probably be interested in hearing. So even if it's that, you can like reach out and get involved. So do not block yourself out if you don't think you're the perfect candidate for any reason, because at the end of the day, it's all volunteer work and people are only there because they really care to be there. And if you care to be there, you're already like 80% of the way there. You got to see both sides of a person. But we 2-for-1. I know. Build your own single-sided Swiss, but with like random side balance. Like, yikes. Worth noting, I looked at all the IDs, and throughout all the IDs, all the 2-for-1s through this event, Corp was only had a slightly above half win rate. I think it was like 12 out of 22 IDs were the Corp won. So it doesn't seem like there was huge evidence from this exact 2-for-1 meta that the Corp was heavily favored. It was slightly favored. So technically, if you flip the coin flip into Corp, you had an advantage in 2-for-1, but it was like within what you'd expect it to be. It wasn't like 75% Corp win rate. So I did do the math and it wasn't as bad. Mind you, again, this was also 2-for-1. The bigger issues we want to help with burnout. Oh, yeah. All right. That's our news. There's a new Null Signal podcast. I'll have listened to it before Thursday. Jad, DM me. And congrats to Jad. Congrats to all the folks at the top there. You did well. And I don't want to like, make that take over the thing here. It was a sick event. Shout out to the organizers. Jad did great. Prospera with some interesting PE. Again, we saw finally the Keeling Waroid PE, which has just been missing from the meta for better for worse. This was in the old meta, mind you. Bryce playing the outfit off as well. Correa played a really cool list. We talked about it early on the stream. Like really great stuff. Wiki also almost 2 nationals. I don't think a lot of folks have done that so far. And yeah, Jad doing great. Playing some Keeling. Cool. All right, what are we doing? I feel like we could play more of that op list. I don't know if people are going to be too excited about that. We have about like maybe 45 minutes more today. I have to go finish a video for tomorrow. That's the other thing I have to get done. I guess we can start with this one, the decklist of the week. Ward Keeling won Danish Nationals. She's gone now. She's gone. All right, check this out. Jonky Bonk has been rusing us for a while, but rusing probably all of JNet. This write-up is so good. So we've been running into someone called Thule Enjoyer on stream, generally the Thursday slot. This is Jonky Bong, it turns out. Jonky Bong, a patron of the channel. Huge shout out to Jonky. Great write-up. Playing this like really interesting depth and taxes, killer name, of like a Thule Subsea ASA group deck. So the idea is that we're putting a lot of stuff on the table behind ice. We have that fully operational, the keystone card and ASA group. Now we have Thule in the list, and then we have like some fun interactions, I reckon. Jaguarundi on the face check. Cool. We're playing, a Stegodon deck. I'm actually a big fan of Stegodon decks. I think they're way more powerful than I think they are. And then we have the Formic Carry Managarm combo. That's fantastic. We also are playing Salvo Testing, which in all the games that we played against this deck never did anything. Don't think it does anything. Probably the worst card in the deck. Whatever. Everyone's excited for Salvo Testing. I think it's called out. Yeah, drawn yelling Salvo. This doesn't do anything. You could play an Ikawa. There's 2 Salvo, 1 Ikawa, so not even all on a board. And then of course you have Ontologicals. I think it's really interesting too. Like if you want to do this play pattern, like can you also play Jupstead Grid, which is pretty difficult, but the write-up is really good. Some hard questions. We get called out in one of the what's it called? One of these, Izzy's quote, I had someone score 2 of them against EMEA. It was a blank 5-3 talking about Salvo Testing and then, getting challenged about certain aspects about this. Very cool deck. We're going to play it now. It seems really fun. I haven't played enough Jaguarundi. I think this thing is a really nice face check. We're not playing Harmonics for what it's worth. In terms of like the what's it called? The Stegodon D-Res stuff, like I don't think you need that many targets. Just having 3 Formic Carry is enough. We do have Magnet for what it's worth. We're playing Ablative because it's obviously very, very good. You could also play Gatekeeper if you wanted to. That's a nice target. There's a lot of interesting things you could do. And then understanding whether this deck is just straight up better in ASA group, I'd imagine it kind of is, but it's really fun. I think the one thing I don't like about the list is Bladderwort. I think there were so many times where we ended up trashing it just because we were already there, but like you generally honor more than 4 credits, and I don't really care about this. So I feel like we have a lot of influence we can use here. The deck isn't on Vovo, which is another card. So I feel like there's a lot of ways to iterate on this, but like this is a really strong shell, which is at least quite nice. I don't understand the Bladderwort, I'll be honest. You get internet points every time Salvo Testing does literally anything, but you lose them every time it loses you in the game by being ripped from a central. It gets ripped from a central a lot because like good luck scoring this thing out. Like your best case scenario is you never advance it. They don't trash a Wage Workers for some reason. And then you like seamless launch on it on top of it, which like, okay. And at that point, like how many core damage you need for Ontological to be good? It's not like, I think if you play Salvo Testing, like you're kind of encouraged as well to play small agendas like the Elevagao Bifurcation, which we're not. So like there's a chance this fires 1.5 times before the game is over, which is a bit ugly. Play double case, murder, and deck 5 flatline and 5 rounds in Danish Nats. Is that up somewhere? I'll check it out for sure. Not possible to play on stream. It does not run Spin Doctor. Uh-oh. Can you link me that? I'm not sure if it's somewhere. We probably have to dig it up. Anyways, this seems fun. Let's do it. Let's try and square out Salvo Testing. We so far haven't on the channel. But like, shout outs to Jonky. What a write-up. What a ruse. Like, it was very obvious the Thule Enjoyer name was like someone goofing around, and I'm glad that we could finally, they could get their limelight they so deserve. Depths and taxes. I haven't played Thule since the new set. I don't think they immediately got anything that's amazing. It's nice to have Stegodon, right? Like 1-pointers make sense with ability. It's sometimes rough to run some chunky 3-pointers. Like it was really kind of okay in Thule, right? Like it kind of confirms core damage because if they have a click and 2 credits, they often don't have 2 clicks and 4 credits. Like that's a lot harder to deal with. So there's a chance it's not the right include, but like, yeah, we're going to play it. Good luck protecting those ontologicals and centrals while spending all your money to protect an advance of 5-3 with no forward tempo. It's the deck list of the week. It has to do something. I don't know. We're keeping an open attitude. This seems really great. Go to East Ang. Oh, this is going to be an ESSA matchup. Uh-oh. Oh, it's not. Go to East Ang has classically been playing ESSA, which core damage into this matchup is really funny. Interesting to see. Probably what we're expecting Hermes Tau. Salvo number 1. Thank you. Something's going on outside. Okay, opening hand. We have the bladder word early. Dao is not like particularly good at trashing stuff. Ontological in hand. We're gonna have one ugly agenda in hand. There's no way around it. We don't have tempo positive agendas besides the luminal. Was just saying. All right, they know we're up. Dump the hand, no salvo. I like the tranquility. It's like low key the best card in the deck in terms of like, well, besides ablative, I guess. The ice stinks. The Mavirus stinks. The bladder word is like okay. I'm gonna keep this. I think this is like a middling hand, but like with this deck, you can so easily do worse, but you can easily do better as well. I'm gonna start here. Maybe we should have just high rolled it a bit. Okay, that helps a bit. Don't keep. Jackson, you got to say that sooner. There's like a chat delay. Best of luck. Sorry about that. Have fun. All right, so we'll put these 2 out and then we'll just ice up something with Formicary. We can move it over if we really want to. We'll just do something like that. SMH my we have this at least if they conduit off. I think we're only on 1 Mavirus. I don't know. Does this deck even have 3 Spin Doctors? It has 3 Spin Doctors. Okay, that's huge. 2 Mavirus as well. That's a good spot to be against what was probably going to be a conduit deck. We have to make sure we don't ice up archives or ice up anything too unoptimal because Dao gets you there. Okay, so we have to res both of these. That's not a problem. All right, we hit a turbine. That probably makes them more powerful, honestly. They don't want to cast that from hand. They generally like get it on the table behind, what's it called? Off a simul chip. This is the issue, is that like Tranquility Home Grid is gonna like Bladderword's gonna do 1 damage all game unless like we really bankrupt ourselves somehow. So like we probably want to install on here and just get card draw, but we're doing it with a Spin Doctor, which like that's ugly. Oh, this is ugly. Ooh, that's bad. Okay, I think we want to do. We'll just do Drafter R&D, this and Server 2. Like, this is not good. We have no way of firing this more than once. And I think this is such a weird card in the deck. Search the deck list for that. That is not a thing that, like, that title does not pass NSG guidelines. I can't say it on stream. I've been playing an Ace of Formicary Stegodon. Hey, Desigurator, as well. Harmonics work really well with Stegodon. Blue Press triggers the Stegodon Breaker Strength Reduction. Yeah, it's cool. We haven't done the Harmonics in a while. I think when we did our review, we didn't realize that Echo will actually, like, you can get a negative strength because unfortunately lowering strength for a 0 strength barrier doesn't make sense, but the fractors actually negating out makes it a bit better. I just am not convinced that Harmonics are the best. I think there's some interesting things too with like ping and then play B1001. Zombie orange hand covering eyes. It's okay. All right, so now we need a Rashida on the table, but we like made really ugly servers. So we'll draw once. That's good. Again, we're not Asa, so we're not like really popping off here. And like Bladderword is basically we spent 2 influence on a pad campaign. That's 1 credit slower or faster, excuse me. All right, it's Hermes Dao. We have ugly agendas in hand. We are probably going to get rid of them here. I think installing a Spin Doctor on top of the Tranquility Grid was maybe a mistake. IKEA glass? You know it. Only the finest. Only the finest. Yeah, I think IKEA is great. It's worth knowing that my parents... Okay, I'll finish this play first. Do we want to score out an Ikua? I don't think we do. I don't think they're gonna run it anytime soon. The problem is like we need to get another ice on R&D or they'll just like conduit jam. So I think we want to just get the ICWA on the table and the wage workers on the table. We could probably do a triple install this turn. So we'll do install, install, install. I did that wrong. Don't at me. My mom specifically, huge IKEA fan ever since. She even immigrated to North America in the 80s. And then in the 90s, the house we moved into, like the childhood house I grew up in, was owned by a person whose job was to be, oh, they're trying to figure out what the upgrade is. They can test the spin doctor, we don't mind. They were like in charge of, I didn't know which ice that was. I did the wrong form of carry. That's an ugly interaction. But they were in charge of setting up all of the, oh, they lost a conduit and mad dash. That's pretty good. They were in charge of setting up all of the IKEA setups across Canada, like office designs and stores. So they had a very IKEA heavy house. And when we moved in, they left us a whole bunch of IKEA stuff, like little Swedish flags. And we've been an IKEA family ever since. It highlights which form of carry it would be when you hover. Good to know. Very good to know. Thank you. All right, the conduit's down. So I think we can just score this thing out. They have a swap. We have to discard a card. We have a spin doctor, whatever. You can't say that now? No, you can't. There's a list of words that like NSG wants you to avoid while casting. I'm not an NSG stream, but I stick by their like EDI stuff. It's fine. It's not a big cost to me. There's so many other words you can use. I don't mind. No big deal. Need to turn off auto form of carry. They know which on the table. It's too late because we didn't. They're running here. Do we form a carry here? It like really ruins our money. I don't think we will. Why did it not ask us about form of carry? Are they deep diving? They might be deep diving. I don't think that deck was on deep dive. At least if they deep dive, they do core damage. Why is it not asking? Did we turn it off? We might have. Imagine scoring an ICWA that does nothing when you could have scored salvo. Oh, yeah, genuinely, we would have been excited to score a salvo there. This is an ablative barrier. Oh, last click. You're a Rashida, though. You are a Rashida. Oh, ablative, best garden set. Yeah, I think you're right, Zombie. We'll hover. So we just want to make sure that we do technically the bladder word first. Got a pinhole. That's pretty good. Draw 3, gain 3. You thinking what I'm thinking? You thinking what I'm thinking? Okay. So what is this? This is a form of carry. That's so absurdly ugly. So we need to ice up everything. We need to get money. So we need to put something behind this. Again, I think the Tranquility Home Grid was a mistake. I'll be the first to admit it. I think we'd rather score in this server though. So bronze seems pretty good. So we'll do install. We have to make sure we don't lose on R&D. I think having an ablative on R&D is probably where we want to be. And I think we'll just ice up here. And then we'll pop off next turn. Gonna get rid of that. No off-turn Trank Red gain? Oh, we could have, yeah. We'd have to wipe the Spin Doctor before the subroutine fired, though. Before we res. We could have done it. We had the power to do it. They're playing 2 turbines? The heck? Okay. Okay, so here, if we do the Spin Doctor to get the off-turn Trank, which we probably could have done before, it will give us money. We have to use the Spin Doctor, which shuffles 2 into the deck. I think we're fine with 2 into the deck. So we'll res an ablative here. They have their Sentry, which now they deal with, what's it called? Pretty well. Form a carry, let alone drafter. All right. Seems important. Unfortunately, Bladderwort doesn't do anything. They let us res the ice on R&D. That's kind of nice, as much as this is not like a real taxing solid ice. But now if they face check into a Brawn, it fires. Kidding, we can't res it. Not doing IA salvo testing. Oh man, we're 1 credit short here. I hope they trash both. At a minimum, Rashida, I don't know if they trash the Train Grid. They don't have any economy on the table. Well, they have 3 more credits than we think we do. Okay. Brown's good. The deck has 2 Seamless in it. We'd have the top deck if we do install Advanced Seamless. I think we need to do double ice things. So we'll do server 1. And like now, as soon as we do fully op, like we're totally out of the, like, I don't understand a bladder weight. Is this fine for 1 influence? Maybe it is. Maybe a pad campaign that's 2 influence. That just seems a bit rich to me. I don't want to advance this if we're not scoring it out next turn because we get blown out by like, as much as they don't have breakers here, we do get heavily blown out by potentially, what's it called? Hermes. So we can do advance. All right, we're believing. So this is 6, 7, 8. We can do Rashid in the remote server. Give them pause to think. Now they don't have the fracture yet, but if they get a bounce in R&D, like we basically lose the game. It's beginning to believe. I'm out of water. I need water. I talked way too long about single-sided Swiss, double-sided Swiss. My throat's totally toasted. Now, if we score this out, it doesn't help us win because we're going to be on game point, and with 1 core damage, it like does nothing. It's all coming together. And we don't have Nightmare Archives, which like is what I expected when I played against this deck. Is that I always respect Nightmare Archives. And that's actually like a really big thing about Thule. It's not obvious what your opponent is doing to play around you. SMC, okay, wow. So ablative, no free lunch. You don't have to hit that now. You can do that mid-run. This is last click. So if this was an Ikawa, they can't steal it. But of course, it's a salvo testing. So if we res the ablative, we can install a card. Hey, Junkie, it's better in Thule like all cards. Yo, well done. Congrats on the deck list of the week. They found it. So we already have a Rashida on the table. We don't have a huge incentive to do a second Rashida. This has to be in a different server. Yeah, a route of protecting another server. So like we can't just get a Rashida out. I think that's fine. We can only fire 1 Rashida, obviously. Wait, they die to Bladderwort. They die to Bladderwort. If they steal this, they have to take a core damage. They literally flatline to Bladderwort as long as we res the Brawn. Okay, Bladderwort's sick. Save the cards for advance. It's fine. We have Rashida and Bladderwort. Objectively incorrect. Now it's 5 strength, so it's 2, 3, 4 to do this. If we res it, that's the only where this fires. But I think they die to Bladderwort here if they steal. And they have to steal. It's not an additional cost. It's whenever the runner steals. So they can't refuse to steal it. So this they have to boost once. So it's 2, 3 to go through most of it, 4 to go through all of it, which means that they will flatline unless they have a way to draw here. Res to void Hermes. Oh, we have 2, but yeah, we will. We have 2, so we're not worried about it. Excuse, sorry. Feels so silly when you hit the steel skin. Yeah, right? They pay 4. Okay. We'll res this one. Oops. Flatline to Salvo. Salvo better than Ikawa on the virtue of being easier to steal best agenda. It technically won us the game. I don't think they realized here that there's a Bladderwort on the table. They had to walk away there. Did NSG make Janus too? No. The biggest ice they ever made was Tyr. It does do core damage. It does 2 core damage. Asa can't do that. Asa cannot do that. That is technically correct. Oopsies. Oh, yeah, you don't steal there. That's a mistake on the runner's part. Thanks for the game. Where's the link? Strictly better than Ikawa. Otherwise, we had to get to 6 points and then try and close the game out. Thank you. I thought I knew who this was. It isn't who I thought it was. I thought this was the Ewan. I don't think it is the Ewan. Yo, is this an alter? Hard to tell. 2309, mind you. Nice. Cool. Version so click compression weak servers tempo. Chad Thule does core damage once. Yeah, 1 core damage is all it took. They're quaking. We got a 3-2 now. Essa survives the play. Yeah, if Essa did not take core damage. Okay, I'm just gonna queue up and I'm gonna get some water real quick. I'll be right back. I just need water. The core damage is there. Is the threat? I know, yo, Junkie, for real. Be right back. Okay. It's an altered. Unfortunately, he's banned. Oh, it's a Keegling. Vincent, how's it going? Busted deck. Nat, loving the core damage over there. Hey, thanks. You too. This hand is like only slightly cursed because you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna jam the salvo. I don't. Or is it DreamNet? It's my altered DreamNet on the link. Oh, Yeti, do you have a full link that we can share? Sorry that it got banned. Okay, this is the issue. It's like on this board state, we want to like okay. We need to get the Rashid off, otherwise we can't afford the MIC. This is where Asa actually gets you like MIC Rashida, and like that's a lit play. We're gonna hope that they're scared of core damage as much as like Nat wants to play on low hand size. Is core damage a rename? No, it's totally just a rename. It's mechanically no way different. All the FFG cards that say brain damage on it are just core damage. It's all the same. It was just changed to widen things up. Yeah, this is bad. They could have took a Jaguar Undy here, so this is a bit of a risky line, but we lose our Rashida. Bummer. We're gonna hope they're scared of core damage like the entire game plan. Yeah, and then we play into like really aggro anarchs who like just don't care. We have to res here, unfortunately. They might like pull a more likely like a botchless, I think, than anything else. We also didn't see what's it called at all. Ooh, okay, Caldera. Okay, Asa Thule says whenever the runner steals an agenda, do 1 core damage. So it's not additional cost, so they can play Caldera. I guess they feel like they have. Oh, they removed it from the game. They're now our best friend. It's gone. I want a core damage card that shows Weyland dudes throwing someone's pet. Yikes. Yikes. I hear the commentary in East Anglia Champs is going to be off the scale. Dave, tell me more. We were a bit ambitious on the MIC. Draw, install, credit. Next turn we can jam. We narrowly avoided disaster. I'm assuming they have more than one of these though, because there's no way they RFG this from the game. What else do they have though? Guinea pig? Okay, the price Hush. Yeah, Hush is reasonable. No, Yeti, it looks like your link was sanitized. This is the status strongest ending deck? Dowjin, what do you mean? It says unless they spend, but they prevent they have to spend it? Because it's not as additional cost due a core damage. It's not a cost as an effect, so you can protect it. All right, this is like a reasonable bravado. Sorry, it's a bravado, but they can't trash it. Maybe you want to take 3 cores that ID triggers all the time? Their ID hasn't fired so far, has it? This ID ability, I think, is like... While there were cards... Okay, they're trashing it. That's nice. There were cards that support Nat and like give you a downside for playing low hand size. There's just not enough of them in the game. So Nat becomes like... An NRB latest Nat deck? Oh, okay. I don't know what this will be. Let's let it be a surprise. Nat's real ability is 40 cards. Yeah. Yeah, you can play Lu though. Damn, I'm good though. It's like a good reason to play Nat. He's also a Brazilian character, which I thought... I don't think NSG is using FFG characters, but like in terms of the set, he's relevant because he's there with his cool power gloves. All right, Ablative online. Let's go. Love it. Stegodon's online. Nat's still the only 40 Anarch. No, lose a 40 Anarch. All the system gateways are 40s. Adore, labor rights, hush, guinea pig, sure gamble. So there's probably some labor rights endgame. I play Signat where you just mill your entire deck, make a bunch of money, and then assemble conduit turbine lock. Ah. So you play a shaper deck. Very cool. Me and Marbles will be on commentary duties. Pretty hype for it. Oh, sick. Is it streamed? I'm assuming if there's commentary, it's streamed. Is it attached to that link that I'll put in the YouTube comment? It's soon, right? It's like end of September. That's really cool. It's really nice to see you in person Netrunner again. Again, we have another video up on the channel tomorrow. I sent you a link on Discord. No pressure to get up. Okay, thanks, Yeti. Let me see if I can. I'm not sure if I have a Discord open. I probably can. Open copy link. Hold on, we can do it. Yo, that's really cool. That's a really fun box there. Artist Sarah J. Hari. Oh, that's awesome. Really nice color. Well done. Is that participation, I take it, or? Okay, so they produce an Adore. They don't have a way to deal with MIC, so we can always do hedge fund, salvo, advance. And next turn we can score it with seamless. If they run, we can deraise their ablative, which doesn't have threat text, but like, whatever. Kind of surprised that Patchwork and Guinea Pig isn't played more than it is, but the other low hand side stuff, like Spiricides, need a little more power. Yeah, there's a couple other ones, like the ones that you can't die with no hand side. Cat's Cradle might see play in this deck. They just don't do enough. Guinea Pig is okay. Guinea Pig is definitely okay with like Patchwork, which we're not even on Patchwork. Yeah, obviously a fair bit better. But it's just like losing your whole hand. So hopefully you have a small hand. It's pretty expensive. Sponsored by Sanjay. Oh, awesome. G-Pig. Trashing all. Draw. So just like mashing through their deck. We will never financially recover from this, but look at us. We have helped Nat in Nat's goal to do low hand size. Getting Bravado, pretty big hit. But now on 4 hand size. Even easier to have 2 or fewer. I feel like this, we actually turned on Nat that turn. We salvo testing Nat down to hand size. All right, now they have to run because if they don't do tricks or Taka catches up. We don't have a seamless here. We can just do like hedge fund, install ontological. I guess we should have started with the spin doctor. Yeah, feels bad. Okay. This seems fine. This is good. Like, no matter what, I think how they slice it, they're going to end up taking a core damage, which means the next ontological is a top deck. Oh, I forgot we're on 4 points. I don't want to score this out. Yeah, Magic, we did score a salvo. All right, late game turbine, buzzsaw. I thought this was game point. It's not. Guinea Pig can't trash your grip, but you have no grip to trash, so you can still get the cash. I think Guinea Pig, the trashing is not a cost, it's an effect, so you don't have to have a hand. Yeah, it's just part of the effect. You can do as much of the effect as possible. Whoa, still pretty expensive? How? Oh, because of... Yes. So now they have 1 click and 10 credits, so we can trash the MIC, and then if they steal the ontological, they take a core damage. I don't think that's amazing. I think we have a pretty good late game. Like, I think we let them have this, and then we try and score at the Ikoa. So this is fine. This is okay. We forced them to do something. They got 2 points for it. And Mystic Miami now. Random card from Grip turns on Nat again. She's gone. Okay, so we need to do credit hedge at a minimum. I'd love to jam in their mode server again. They know there's an ablative here, which means we probably get back a tranquility. Not amazing hit. Magnet, not great. We need to get another ice res somewhere. Draw. Ooh, value. This is bad. Why score Echo when we can score a second salvo? It's the problem is like this text is not going to do anything. We're going to win the game. Unless we score out the second Stegodon. But like, we now need a barrier. We have an ablative here. We have... There's another barrier in the deck. Is it Hagen? Braun, of course. Unfortunately, not pushing. Now, if they run HQ, we get good value. Not that derezzing the MIC is good value. So they can go R&D here. But yeah, kind of hard. We need a managram. Isn't that 2 or less anyway? So it's already on. So On the turn, no, I think on the salvo they had 3 in hand, and then the core damage dropped him to 2. So I think the salvo turned him on. Salvo and Correa, game over. I don't think we de-res the MIC, let's be honest. But like MIC with Iqua is how we win. So next turn we can do install advance advance. Ideally we get one more piece of ice here. Ooh, it's a Jaguar. They break this for 5 credits. It's pretty good. Now if we do install advance advance, they have to first click run through this. They break this for 2. We make them lose a click. No, that's not good. We have to build a better server. So let's keep drawing. That's interesting. It's an easy D-res, which is important. We'll just spread ourselves out a bit. It's 2 core damage on 1 card. That's value. Wait, which one? This one? All right, this is where we lose the conduit or something. Okay, res ablative. So we can install something here, and now we have a good target. So we'll put this in server 1. They're through though for 1 credit. So like they can flush HQ and they could win this turn. Because we just don't have the economy to push out. Yeah, this is where like, you know, if they're just going to rush out breakers, like you have to win the game off of defensive upgrades and other like proactive win plans, which like, I guess we have. Oh, this is free even. Res and move form a carry. Yeah. This is only 2 credits. Pretty good. They could also lose. No, they can't lose here. Oh, that's the best hit. Nice. There's no way they lose here. Unless we have snare, which I don't know if they know we don't, but we don't. And I think that was Jonky was talking about that as an option at some point, but just kind of expensive. They might need to deal with the Rashida here. It's pretty cheap for them to deal with the Rashida. It cost 1 credit. They run last click, so it's a 2 credit Rashida. They took a core damage. Why did they take a core damage? Now we need this to survive. So this goes down to 3. That doesn't change. No, this only costs them an extra 3 credits. No, we're not going to do it. All right, we have to get lucky here. I don't know why they took a second core damage there, because this is now another core damage. So this is a 1 and 3 to be really bad. If they steal the Iqua, they die. Oh, sorry. So they can't steal that. Okay, 1 and 3. If they steal this, we're in a really bad spot. If they don't draw. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, we needed that so bad. Damn, he's good. Okay, felt bad. Otherwise, we would have scored that out and done a core damage, so they had to draw there. But now we really have thin margins. Okay. What is this? This is a Jaguar. Pretty expensive because we'll de-res the ablative for them. But we have to force them into a weird spot. So I think we need this. Our next turn is install advance in a following turn. If only had Blackboard out. Yeah, right? Yo, Sticks, how's it going? Congrats on your last event. I think we can just keep them busy. Something like that. Like they have to spend some amount of time drawing. But like I think they're just going to burrow. At least the Jaguar D is relatively good here. But like we lose the single axis. We know where the 1 Iqua is too, so like you can access R&D. Like that's the thing. Besides the 1 Stegodon, our ability doesn't matter anymore because they win before this ability fires. It's just like, you know, Fuji. It's not as an additional cost, so they steal it, win, then this triggers. So it doesn't work. It's gonna be hard. You can install Iqua and try to be sneaky since we can win and never advance a wage worker and seamless. Yeah, I want to probably advance it once because if they trash the wage workers, we're in a really bad spot. And we don't want to let them to have that. I don't want to let them have that opportunity. Check out Bahram's stream from last night for details on other East Angling Champ side event. Super cool. Yeah, we could sneak this out. Again, they didn't trash the wage workers. If they do, like, it buys us a turn, which is kind of okay. I don't know what ice we can get here that's particularly taxing. But they have to run through this. It costs them 3. This costs them something. This is free to break. It won't be, though. All right. Game's here. Game's on the table. Man, I love testing. It is the scariest job for the corp. Because it's just a brick in there. They're going to see 2 cars on Essential this turn. The safest run for them is actually HQ. So they have a 50-50 to win the game. If they play this turn well enough, they win. We got unlucky on the 1 and 3, though. If we had this, like, we'd be at 6 points. They'd be on a 3rd core damage. So I don't feel bad about it. I want to click on the X yellow error message. This one? Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I just tune out that part. To be fair, it's no worse than send a message of the Jinteki 5-3 at this point. I think it's a fair bit worse. Yo, Anarcho, how's it going? Playing a villainous delay deck. Yeah, we have a lot of experience. We played into this deck like consistently for like 3 weeks in a row. Yeah, hey, no worries. Oh, I didn't realize they popped out. Tested the salvos, they need work. I'm like, oh, this is bad for us. Yeah, we lose. We lost. They just ran it. We had to wait for a Manic Arm here. Res Drafter, we need a lot of money to score out, actually. If they let the Drafter fire, though, we can put a Spin Doctor on top of this. They probably won't. Again, they have to boost. They have 3 virtuals, so that's just 3 credits. Yeah, we just can't beat this. Those agendas are both completely blank. Yeah, everything's completely blank. Buzzsaw for 5. Nice. So to score out, we need 6 credits. So if we continue to res cards here, we just like don't lose, but we won't win next turn. At least we can Spin Doctor on top of it. Continue encounter. How do we do Formicary? Make sure the fire MIC, maybe it'll work. Yeah, I'll fire the MIC for sure. But like, yeah, just ice does not keep this deck out. Yeah, being on game point is really, really obviously bad for Thule. It's a big server though. They actually can take this damage. It doesn't matter. Oh, excuse me. We'll just do this. That's the first time I think I've ever fired. Game. Good game. Yeah, we got unlucky there. We could have done it. But yeah, that was better in their mode server than a salvo testing for sure. Thanks for the game. But yeah, salvo testing didn't really do much, did it? Do you still drink water from a jar? No. No, we've yeah, right? I needed a second one. I turned on Nat, that ain't nothing. Yeah, we helped. We did turn on Nat one turn. Yeah, it would have been good. Yeah, see, cheers. Yeah, if we got the ontological from hand, we had a way out of there. But no, that was pretty bad. We salvoed, did not do it. Did not do it for us. I think the early game we probably misstepped. Like maybe we keep HQ open and we get a bit lucky there. But like, again, Asa gets that opening. We don't get that opening. Getting that early Rashida was so important. I lost my water bottle and remember the water jar meta came in clutch. On the Matt Zellinger alter art for me, there is a water jar on the deck for those who are like into the water jar meta. It's really good. You just finish some pickles. You get a jar with like a really strong base. It's hard to tip over. Really good volume. Just like a kind of ideal water solution. Let's salvo Axu. We're coming for you, Axu. We're going to salvo you. It's goated. It's really good. Like, you know how easy you tip over this IKEA bad boy? You're flailing, trying to build your servers. No, none of this. Water jug. Admittedly, if you do kind of, you know, tip it over, the volume issue catches up with you. Thanks, you too. All right, opening hand. We have ice for centrals. Wage workers on the table against Sable. Okay, Stegadon. It's an open. Excuse me if I'm belching into the microphone like an absolute monster. This is a horrible matchup. I don't think it's that bad. Sable fires before the Axis, which, like, that's not good. But, like, we have a defensive central ability. Let's just say that. You think Sable takes two net damage to stop a Rashida? R&D mark. Come on. Ooh. I genuinely... Oh, I've heard from somebody that from someone in my meta that the dice that were at Worlds to randomize your mark don't work well. They're not full random. Ooh, we got a miss bones and a penny shaver. Feel okay about it. I need to double check if that's true. I want to do a salinity test because if it turns out that the mark dice that NSG gave are not like true random, that's a problem. High risk, high reward. Do not use them. Oh, are you in that camp too? Oh, other people are noticing it too, so it's not just like, you know, this is fine. Damn. His problem is just Crims being Crims? The aggression's really good against this deck, because, like, we're not great. Yeah, I wonder if that's true. Like, are they just not worth playing? Gone back to using cards. Okay. I'm going to do a salinity test. I think it's pretty simple. You just fill like a jar with salt and then you just roll it like 100 times and then you can do the math. It's not a conspiracy from Big Chess X. Okay. So we need a second ice here. I think at some point the criminal can't just tank the form of carry over and over again. Obviously we have second form of carry. HQ is the mark. With the Rashida, we're feeling pretty good about Drafter into Tranquility combo. Pinhole though. Ooh, please not. Move a form of carry. I'm not moving a form of carry. The UK Nats mark dice are random. How do you, with such confidence, you say this? Please show me your evidence. Ew. Yeah, it's okay. If that was a Rashida. Or like a Manic Arm. Ah, oh, come on, I wanted that. All right, Criminal Economy. Which is all the other faction cards. All right, gotta get out of this somehow. Draw. Did I miss a discussion about the water jar? Yeah. This will be bad for somebody. Either for Axu or for us. There. Jonkey's ruse is to force us to be in the deck list of the week so people have to top deck salvo testing and like try not to like absolutely cringe when playing in person. My evidence is that I just said so with confidence. Oh, I just said so. Yeah. I get that. I've been there. Okay, well, we are destitute, but technically we can actually res a 3-coster here. We don't do a core damage because we're not, you know, salvoed. But Stegadon, pretty hard, pretty good. We're off. It's only going to get uglier for a criminal that is going to break Formicary with Carmen. Oh god, Carmen to Formicary is so bad. This is a mess up. And I get it because this is tricky. Thank you for the free drafter. Now, admittedly, they're just going to go ahead and oh, do we put Rashida in hand or we put Trank on the table? I think we put Trank on the table. Ah, sorry. The wrong server, of course. Trust, I fixed. Nice. I don't cringe when I draw Salvo. I grin, knowing I just won. You've activated my trap card. Salvo's our mascot, watching it over our plays from HQ. There's a chance this is a deep dive. I think I'm pretty happy if you deep dive into Thule. We have one Salvo in hand. Maybe this is just like free penny shaver. It's probably just free penny shaver. Stegadon. Paul, how's it going? Editing through your video was difficult. I've only done through Swiss so far for the channel. It'll be on in a while. Wrongness. Yo, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. We're salvo testing out here. So they know Netrunner plays like credit, trank. We have issues. We definitely have issues. Surely salvo would be more comfortable watching from the runner score area. Don't give it ideas. Why was it difficult? Why was it difficult? Because there's a lot of triggers with Stegodon. There's a lot of... You also built off camera. I'm going to call you out. You went outside of the marked area. We agreed what the table space was, and you decided to be your own, you know, intrepid explorer. And that's, you know, a bit hard to deal with some days. Bladev doesn't do that much. There's an understanding that this is forma carry. If we're on 3, we can do double forma carry. I will trade my whole board state for that. Doing too many things with my hands? No. No, no, no. You played clean, though. You did play clean. Feeling pretty scared here. HQ is the mark. Luckily, actually hasn't produced any breakers. I wonder if we're in the no mutual favor category. Also, I'm Penny Shaver as opposed to Paragon. And, like, I like Paragon a lot. I like the filtered card draw as much as, like, Class Act might make it sound overkill. Sorry, it's no big deal. Classic broke AF Thule. We're not Stegodoning this run for obvious reasons. That's a good run, though. It's not the... Stop it. No. No, they know there's a forma carry, so I'm going to let that button ride. They don't know there's 2 forma carry. But I'm going to let that ride for a bit. Okay, here's the Carmen. Now, the only server they can run is HQ. Is that a problem for us after we draw 4 cards? You can come to your own. That's actually good. Magnet HQ is nice. We haven't got doofed yet. Like, we don't often survive that. So, this in server 1 for 2 credits. This on HQ. Wage workers remote. We have an incentive to get an ablative somewhere. I think if they trash this, we're pretty happy with it. I just realized we have a problem. Our hand's really good. My virus is probably better in the bin. Bladderware is the anti-doof tech. That's actually cute. Yeah, you're right. Shit. Feels bad. Those like glasses are top heavy. It's a real design flaw. Pine glasses are the true... Aren't pine glasses like pretty narrow though? Because like bars have an incentive to make your stuff look taller than anything else. So Carmen actually breaks this for a lot of money. And like that's kind of important. And we want to get something res on a different server. Because now Carmen actually breaks this for 3 credits. That's pretty good. Rip wage workers click. Oh, Lord. Yeah, we could have wage workers there and then would solve all of our issues at once. That was a really, really, really bad play. Reminds me of the unhinged set of Magic. You have a card that let you destroy a card you don't see. Didn't even have to be in your game. Yeah, they just bounce off of this. I think the X's is pretty good, though. You get the click back, but they probably just run back here. That's like one of the tragic downsides. Now they're running this. So we don't have a huge incentive to res this forma carry. We could pay 3 for a net damage. That seems a bit expensive. If you want jank, check out GTF 99 and Become Death to see salvo testing winning games after doing 7 points in 1 turn. Interesting. I don't need more in-person play. I don't have good reflexes. Looking forward to our next GNK whenever it is. Yeah, we haven't organized something in a minute. They definitely trashed this. Do we move this one over? It costs only 1 credit. It's not worth doing, I don't think, until we have a salvo. But yeah, this is trashed on site. At least we got a miss bones early, so this feels a bit worse. But like, this is only going to be a credit a turn. Like, I think you do trash it for 3 credits considering we're on Thule economy. But like, not much better. Cool. All right. This is going to be ugly. This is going to be ugly. We need 3 Managarm. Like, if we had a Managarm in the deck, we actually could consider scoring out because we have double... Like, they can't run the server anymore without pinholing the Managarm first. Like, that's super important to keep in mind. They just cannot pinhole. Oh, sorry, they need pinhole. If we don't build into the remote server this turn, we don't force them to do anything, which means we lose Stegodon value. Here, they're going to run R&D, no problem. So we have an incentive to ice R&D. Ablative doesn't do enough, but we have to run. R&D is 1 credit to run. We can't allow that to be the problem. So yeah, things are really bad. Things are really, really quite bad. Feeding salvo turns on ablatives. I'd rather feed the Iqua. But yeah, no, I think getting to threat's going to be really important. Here, if we just had like a code gate, like a magnet, but we needed to keep one on an HQ so we don't get diversion and lose the game. We're in an okay spot. But yeah, we just need another defensive upgrade. Nuka, draw 4.5. 3.5, sorry. Yeah, I think we had the wage workers. We'd be pretty happy. And we could have afforded it. I don't think it would have got us to Bladderwort, though. Okay, our window is closing. Jaguar, also pretty good into Carmen. If we get Carmen down to 0, they only boost once, so it's not actually contingent on the Stegodon. So the big thing with Stegodon is you just have to force runs. You just have to force them to interact with you. But I do think that's a big way to play against Formicary is what happened to the chat log? Did someone CLS? What happened? There's nothing in here, right? No. They know we have another Formicary. Shh. They know. Why did the chat log clear? What's with this gap here? Oh, it's gone. Strange. Okay. This deck probably has a single Mad Dash. And this is what you want. So the Blade of just ends the run. I don't think we care about just ending the run. I think we care about getting a Formicary that costs them 3 credits. Okay. Mind you, another Bravado. So again, this is either 2 net damage or 3 credits. They can also just jack out and run back. Like, at least Thule works well with that. Okay, we can move the other one over. That opens up R&D in a really ugly spot. And then they can run as server 1, which is really bad. Like, your ice positioning is super important here. I think we're just going to get rid of this. I want to keep a Rashida in the bin because it's important to have Rashida in the bin. Mavirus deals with the Amakua, so we can keep that out there. Trank is important. I'll just get rid of these 2. Oh, we have 2 Mavirus. Okay. I think we'll let them trash the Spin Doctor. Like, with an ablative, it's fine to have a Spin Doctor on the table. No. We need to keep our ice spread out enough because we have to, like, it has to at least be de-res for Mana Garm to do something. It can be on the same server. Nice. They got a lot of money from that. They spent 3, 4, 5, gained 8. Vada's really good. Boomerang, we're going to HQ. Diversion. Oh, sick. Whoa, sick. Bladderwort's going to happen. Okay, so if it's a magnet into a drafter. The drafter is the most expensive for them. I think we're okay with the magnet being here. The magnet's only 2 credits, so I think we just don't res that until we need to. If we res this, we go down to 1 credit. Yeah, this is fine. And again, the Formicary is pretty bad. Yeah, pay 4. It's so rough. If we move the Formicary over, they break it for 1. Nah. Mind you, they have way more money. Like, they can clicklessly get bankroll, but here they're going to take a neck damage. It's another Penny Shaver that tracks. So yeah, we don't have much to do here. Like most turns, like we just don't have economy. They have to trash this. They definitely trash that this turn, though. Like, they have, again, like 13 extra credits, no problem. I don't know how we win. I don't think we win. We need, like, a Mana Garm, and we only have 2 in the list. Can you flatline with the Mavirus here? They'd have to access it. It's not just like res to do net damage. They have to access it. It's like the thing that we put in their modes over here for sure. But that's all we got. Yeah, I forgot how that works. Yeah, 3 credits for uninteracted net damage when it exists in the game. The closest you have to it like requires tags or a successful run and has like threat on it, stuff like that. Croupier is down though. That actually becomes a -1 strength. So to boost through an ablative, it costs you 3. Nice. Diesel though. They have to trash this. I wonder if we had a window there to do luminal. I think we did. Apparently we did. Yeah, I think we could have seen that coming. Where's Neural EMP when you need it? Yeah, I think we could have seen that because I think they had to draw up that turn. So it was unlikely that they run. Oh, damn. Got punished. They're going to take a damage here, though. Sec testing. Nice. Okay. So we have to respect that they respect that this is, what's it called? They might diversion again, but they have to respect that this is a Managarm. Because if it's a Managarm, they can't run the server very easily. Unfortunately, we only have 2 Managarm in list. Ablative doesn't do enough. I still think we res it, though. Yeah, fine. I respect them for respecting us. They're not. I guess if it's a Managarm, you run sooner than later. And they used to have more money than we think. This doesn't cost a click. But like a second Stegodon is disgusting. Because it actually becomes a 5 credit Forma carry, and Forma carries become everywhere. Yeah, here they just run back. At least that's cool that we have the ability for Thule, but like that is a line that not a lot of runners take. It's like understanding you lost a click here saves you 2 credits. So you already just click for 2 credits here. Let alone all the other break costs. So at least Thule can tax it out well, but like that's like a really big line against Stegodon. Just like bounce. This is so cheap for them. Yeah, that's all we're gonna do. And if they just run this over and over again, we don't get any Stegodon value. We could have paid 3 to do a net damage. It's probably worth it, actually, considering we want Bladderwort to fire. Sorry. Ah, shit. Yeah. We've got information that he didn't take the core damage, so we're not allowed to res this. But we should have resed it to do Mavirus. I just think if they do that, though, they probably trash the Bladderwort. So we messed up. We probably should have done a net damage for 3. Real Stegodon values the friends we made along the way. This is like the part of, you know, Stegodon that, like, if you don't have the efficiency to force board states, which like Thule doesn't compared to Asa, like you lose so slowly into this matchup. Like this server now costs them 2 credits and we have no way to make it a better run until they do something. And the thing is, like, they don't have an incentive to do something. Ablative being on 3 would be huge, but like, yeah, this is not good. Having Jupe stat would actually be kind of interesting. Order. But like, how many agendas do you think we have in hand? We've gone through 24 cards. We've seen 3 agendas so far. You're expecting at least 2 in HQ. We spin doctored back 2 non-agendas. So like, oh my god, I didn't realize hand was 5 agendas. It's 5 agendas. And yeah, Bladderwort you can leave here. Sort of. Sort of. Yeah, they don't run any other server. We just don't have a play. This is at least 4. That's something. They did take their Penny Shaper. I'm really wondering if Stegodon's worth playing without the Form of Managarm combo. I don't think it is, but this deck does have 2 Managarms. We just haven't found them yet. But with 2 Managarms, yeah, we can win. We just have to top deck a Managarm. Otherwise, we're like in a really bad spot. I don't need to fire that. Okay. There's a chance with Harmonics it's okay, but the thing is, like, Stegodon inherently puts a lot of pressure on your opponent, which, like, for Asa that's really cool because I can build another server in 1 click that they have to check because as a wage workers, and this deck is not particularly good at building another server they have to check. Yeah, nice hand. Legwork and they flatline or something. They'd probably win sooner, but you know what I mean. But yeah, we're not good at making a second server and icing it, which is like a really, really big thing with the Forma carry, or sorry, Stegodon in general. Okay, that was not that cheap. I said 4 to break it. It's 3, 4, 5. So 5 to check. They can't do that every single turn. Draw. Okay, it's here. So hold on. We did that wrong. Our only line here is this line. We could have Asa'd hedge fund that turn. We don't need it that much. But now they actually have to deal with Forma carry multiple times. Because they have to deal with Managarm, multiple times. This we actually can square out. This is the only card we have that makes this engine unfair. Oh, Nana's on the bed. She's getting snuggled. She's getting snuggled. Maddie found her. You can hide. But you can't hide. That's what the saying is. All right. Archives Mark. HQ run wins them the game if they leg work or Dawkins pass. More often than not. But now this is really difficult. We've seen one pinhole so far. Generally, they're running two. So if they pinhole this, we have issues. At least whatever happens to this will be on threat 3. Nice. This is a good run. So this is a magnet. This is a boost for 3. So they have to do 1, 2, 3 to break this. It's on boomerang. Let's not do that. If we de-res the Formicary, I think we have to res the drafter. No. I think we have to pretend there's nothing in here. Resing the magnet means we won't have enough money to res all our other stuff. So we just have to res the drafter and enjoy the fact that they pay 4 for this. And ideally they spend, you know, like if they steal the Ikawa, they spend 4 credits and 2 clicks. Nope. We need these. Actually, we could do 1. It just only costs them 1 credit. You de-res Formicary. I was going to de-res the drafter so the Formicary gets more strong on this run that they run that server, but maybe you're right that we don't need to do that because we already have so much built-in defense here. But with 1 click left now, we will do it. Okay, the Formicary off server 1's valuable. It doesn't matter, actually. The Formicary on server 1 still allows you to do the combo. It doesn't matter where it is. You can fail to move it and still just res it. There's nothing in here, right? No. So basically the form of Kayambi combo without the blue sun. Yeah, it's largely, it's a similar idea. Yeah, they run HQ, they win here. And again, the text on this is, or the text on Thule doesn't matter when they're on 5 points with the 1 Stegodon out. Because you can triple mana garment stuff. No, you can do it. So like, check this out. Formicary says when the runner approaches, you may res Formicary. So you're just allowed to do that. If you do, move it to the innermost. The runner's now encountering it. The way that those are written, you could do as much as possible. So you're allowed to res it and they'll still re-encounter it even if it's on the same server. So you don't need to move it to get its ability. You're allowed to move it though, mid ability. All right. Ico was safe. Credit. All right. Is there anything we can res here? No, we have no way to do damage. Seamless. I think we need to keep the seamless in hand. If you kept it res, you wouldn't be allowed to move it on approach. Oh, yeah. If it's resed, we can't do it. We had to de-res it, but we didn't have to get it off server 1, which I think is what was said, but I might be wrong. Apologies. Okay, another very ugly thing with Stegodon is that makes your scoring patterns really difficult. Like, there's no way out of here. The easiest way is scoring 2 ontologicals. So I think keeping the Ico on hand is the safest. So we can do install on server 1, credit hedge, and now it's a 2 and 3 on HQ to lose the game. My English isn't the best? Paul, your English is really good. But no, yeah, there's reasons why you want the de-res this. There's not a lot of reasons to move it. If you had 2 Stegodons, maybe, because you want to move it off, move it back. Once you de-res it. Chesva, okay. Gonna go HQ here. We have a 1 and 3. Nice. Oh, it's ablative. That's important. That actually is going to be quite important. I don't think we have to de-res anything here. We will res an ablative. That allows us to get a spin doctor, which fixes our hand. I think that's the most important thing. I like those odds. I'll take those odds. Degenerate. Absolute degenerate gambling. Cool. Now brands are pretty bad reses. This Formicary is not worth resing. The issue is, like, obviously they hammer centrals, but at least we have most points in our hand. Now, if we don't res the spin doctor, they can run and see another card in R&D, so I think we actually should res here. We can get 1 Formicary here. The problem is, like, it costs them nothing because of Chesva. But we're allowed to res 1 because we haven't used our Stegodon yet. I'm going to res here, just so that they can't force us to res in the... I did it wrong. Whoops. Oops. I don't know if they saw... I'm assuming they saw the Jaguar. Yeah, I'm assuming they saw the Jaguar. That's ugly. Yeah, yeah. I can't tell them to ask what they've seen without letting them know what we drew. Want to go back? Yeah, this is a big reason why like we sometimes keep one Spin Doctor in archives or one Rashida, just because having that ability on a Blade Dive is more powerful than putting it back into your deck. I think it's a fair line for them to run this and then run that, so I did want to pre-res. Technically, they saw a second card. Yeah, for sure. I don't mind, though. Yeah, this isn't our disadvantage, but it's totally fine. Like, they saw the Jaguar on D for free, but, like, whatever. They got an additional pseudo access. Oh, you don't want to run back? Why do you want to go back at this point? Purely bad for you as a corp to revert? Yes. Oh, that's weird. I think we're getting deep dived here. We'll lose to deep dive. We have no counterplay to deep dive. Okay. Yeah, so it's a deep dive turn. That's a big issue for us. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's only 5 points in R&D. It might hold. It's 1 salvo testing and 1 ontological, so not the worst here. Now, if we res the Formicary, we don't. These all break for 1. It's not worth it. Yeah, but they can win on the HQ run or they win on the deep dive. So the deep dive, we just have to hope it's not in the top 8. This is the big thing about these decks is once they're on game point, they can just like focus on a deep dive plan. So like there's no interest anymore in running the remote server. Shuffle 2 in with the spin? It's hard to do that now. Oh, we could have de-res the Blade Dive actually on the archives run. Okay, at least it's not a deep dive. Yeah, de-resing the Blade Dive there was correct. Shit. That's fair. I thought they would run HQ. I didn't consider they would just swing R&D, so it's not a deep dive. Yeah, I don't want to shuffle back. Like, there's only 2 agendas in 19. I think making it 2 in 21 is probably not worth the flexibility of Spin Doctor. Could be wrong. Okay, not wrong yet. So that was in our advantage strictly. Okay. All right. All right. We're on game point. So we have to survive 2 more turns. Now we have nothing with the bladed that we can do that will disrupt the deep dive. So the deep dive is now. We actually could have left the ontological if we had a better line to be able to close the game. Again, if this was a 2-pointer, we would have pushed for the Iqua and then we've been on 2-2-3. That would have done it. Kind of been good. Watching again. Yeah, Pink, thanks for dropping in. Okay, thinking. So we can de-res something. I think we're going to de-res. The problem is like the de-res doesn't cost them a lot. Like we can't tax out their credits. No, this is silly. Here we'll shuffle in a spin before they deep dive. If that's the point, then we should shuffle in sooner. Because they're going to see the top card of the deck. So we'll shuffle back in 2 non-trashables. We'll do Seamless, which we want to top deck, and I guess just a hedge fund. Format carries don't matter. These are just credits, and they have infinite credits. Okay. So we know at least they're going to only see 7 cards. So here they have to do HQ archives. Deep dive. Mind you, the HQ runs. Oh, not a deep dive. Whoa, maybe they don't have one. But if we can survive 1 more turn here, we just get the, I think the ontological in the remote server. We could do the Iqua. We could do the Iqua. The problem is like they have so many credits. I don't even think our Managarm combo is safe. Yeah, our Managarm combo isn't safe in hindsight. We could have done 1 net damage. It doesn't really matter. Jaguar gives a tag. Ablative. We could have considered de-resing the ablative. That gives us nothing. The Forma carry. Again, they'll have to boost break. Yeah, but they have like they're 32 credits. I genuinely don't think that we can tax them out enough on the Managarm combo. So this is click list. Yeah, I don't know if we can win here. They have way too much money. We have way too much money. They have too much money. Like maybe the best case is we can force them in. Like we could do hedge fund and then install something that's not an agenda that looks like an agenda. So the idea is that they have to pay the Managarm 3 times. So one of them they can spend 2 clicks, but they can like freely spend 15 credits and then not have a big impact on their board. The problem is if we hedge fund, which I think is next to necessary because we will have 7 credits. We have to advance twice though, so we'll be on 4 credits and we have to res, or 5 credits, we have to res 2, 4, 6, and then still have more money. So we have to hedge fund here. There's no way around it. But we could do install advanced ontological. But just even with all the Forma carries in the world, that does get beaten by sufficiently more credits. And they have sufficiently enough credits. We could maybe hope that they go for the deep dive and whiff. That might be our best line here. Okay, this is our only play. I think we lose now or we lose in 2 turns. So we'll try and lose. We'll try and win now. Well, we had a good run. This Bladderword costs us the game. For what it's worth, they were just Bladderword archives. It doesn't change anything. Cool. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, so if they run this ablative, we could get the Managarm back on the table, but we can't get into that server. He's fiddled. Oh, so bad. I forgot about this one. We're feeling so comfortable. It's funny, like I don't even think Axu needs this, but like it's nice to know what this isn't. But now, yeah, he just runs the server. Is there any way out of this? If we de-res this ablative, he runs R&D, we get a bounce. No, but he's just going to run this. If we get this ablative, maybe he's worried about something. Let's hope that's the best. But no, this is terrible. I'll delete my YouTube channel league with some sort of bluff. These Forma carries cost a credit. Not worth anything. They're technically not worth anything anyway, but... Good game. Well, we had a great time. I'll be honest, I'm not sure about this deck. I think the write-up slaps. I think salvo testing is still not really a card. We'll play this again on Thursday. But I would very quickly play this on Asa. And I like stacking on Asa. I just think like, you know, this doesn't help, does it? All right, 4, pretty good. Again, he has a bit more money than it looks. This ablative barrier, I don't think there's anything we could imagine installing that actually gets us anywhere. Like the Managarm we have to put into a different server. If we had a Spin Doctor, we couldn't do anything. So there's no way to save this server. Yeah, there's nothing here. Thule seems interesting though. It has so many issues where it's like so many of the good cards are better when you can get them on the table quickly. So it's hard not to play Asa. And then Thule just doesn't have economy. So like you're required to play like really, really narrow margins as efficiently as possible to make Thule make any sense. And then it just turns out like doing Asa a bit faster consistently gets you there. Skill issue, to be honest. Respect, Jockey, respect. Yeah, there's nothing we got here. It's cool though, like that with Managarm and just like, you know, Stegodonks, you don't even need ice. I have a stable testing tool. I really like it. Avatar. It's not a list I understand. Oh, and we already used salvo. Yeah, that's it's over. Andre, this combo is not cool. What are you talking about? You can't say that earnestly. I think the combo is really cool, but like the combo doesn't involve salvo testing. Good game. I think that's the worst part about Thule. It's like it's not an additional cost. Obviously, that means that they can't afford it. But like once you're on game point, blank ID. Which like, yeah, for PE that matters too. Man, that pinhole did so much psychic damage. Tried some Second versions prior to Cannets with PD as well. Had so many issues. Asa feels the best. Yeah. And that's like a really big thing with this. And like I like the game that Paul that you played is that you force the opponent into different servers. Because that's the only way that you get good value with Stegodon is you have to continually force them to run something else. And that's something that Asa does obviously much better than any other deck, because with a single install, a single click, you get an ice and a server, which like you kind of need that. And like this deck can't build other servers efficiently. So it's like, it's probably not the strongest adoption for Stegodon, but like, yeah, this is probably a playable deck. Thanks, you too. Cool. All right. It's 4:20. Accidentally. Wow, we've been streaming for like 4 hours nearly. That's it for today. I have to go finish the video for tomorrow. It'll be up at around 11:15 Eastern. It's a good one. It's our first Hoshiko deck of many. But the Hoshiko play is some of the cleanest you'll see on the channel. It's probably a playable deck. The write-up is so good. Wait, I'm far out of the camera on this side. That's new. But that's it. Thanks so much for joining in, for dropping in, playing games, having fun, letting me complain about double-sided Swiss. Hopefully something changes. It's really bad out there. Congrats again to all the Nationals players. We'll be looking more into the decks, I reckon, on Thursday. Otherwise, not sure what Thursday's stream is. We'll figure out between now and then. But we'll be there Thursday, 8:45 Eastern. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you as well. Again, like the video. If you enjoyed the streams, it just helps the channel grow. It's like actually a really big thing. If you hit that like, you subscribe, you put a comment. There's a lot of things you can do. Or on Twitch, if you want to hit the notify button, you'll know when we're live. But we're going to be streaming regularly Tuesdays, generally around 12:30, 12:15, somewhere around there. That's it. Take care, y'all. See you in a bit.